Welcome to today's episode of Spawn Camp, where we are bloodless. I mean,
Yeah,
we're usually bloodless, but we're bloodless in a different way today.
yeah, no, I just donated about 4 pints to the local blood bank, so if I seem a little loopy, that's why. It's a joke. Don't donate 4 pints of blood at a time. One is typically enough.
Two, if you're doing double platelet.
Yes, but that's very risky.
I've done that. I did that the same day I got a flu shot. Don't do that.
Yes, I'm surprised I let you do that when you got your flu shot. Or did you get your flu shot afterwards?
After.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes a bit more sense.
And I didn't tell them. I wanted to be healthy and save lives. Instead, what I did was ruin a weekend.
Raven, every time I talk to you, the more and more I'm convinced that you are just a dwarf. Dwarf pretending to be a person. You're basically built like a rock.
Yep. Alright, so today we've got a couple of fun things. We're going to talk about the history of St. Paddy's Day and why it's alright.
Yeah,
And
Shamrock Shake's not that good. I
then
like
we're
it,
gonna-
but it's not that good.
we're going to talk some D&D.
All right.
I meant to be kind enough to show you what I was going to talk about with D&D, but then I got sidetracked.
I thought you just didn't want to talk to me.
Well, you know, you're here.
Yeah,
I have to
typically you
deal
just don't
with
want to avoid me unless we're on camera.
it. So, history of St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. Well, specifically St. Patrick, specifically, not St. Patrick's Day.
Sure.
So, we actually had a discussion about this, I think, on Spawn Camp a couple weeks ago, discussing, like, you thought St. Patrick was, like...
There is a common held belief, especially amongst the pagan community, that St. Patrick led something of a genocide against Irish pagans.
Right.
And yeah, I was on the side of that without having done a deep dive into it.
And someone who is recently participating in more paganistic activities, and someone studied a bit more into Christian mythology and some of the people of choice, St. Patrick didn't really do that. He did baptize and, expound Christianity to Ireland more so, but before that he was a slave, and we were kind of bouncing off that without doing any major research. And then we said, you know
to
what?
pirates.
Yes.
So he was Wesley from Princess Bride.
Yes, except he wasn't captured when he was just a child. Wesley was on a boat, and then the boat got commandeered.
He was St. Patrick was 16. That
That's
probably
still a
would have
child.
that probably would have been about the same age as Wesley.
I don't.
It's a teen romance.
That's not
Like-
a teen butter. No.
Like they're adults. They're adults during the main body of the story, but in that prequel, they're younger.
I'm trying to think. I don't have. I had a copy of the book for years and years, and I read it to death. I don't.
Let me
It doesn't really go with
let me
their
look
age.
it up. How old was
We could talk about the Princess
Wesley?
Bride.
late 20s to early 30s during the events of the story, which
Right.
would mean that he could have been as young as 19 in the
Right,
beginning.
because it's 5 years later.
Yeah. So they
Um,
could have been teens. I stand by my statement. Also,
but they're
anybody
not
will
16.
anybody will tell you that, with exceptions, most people under the age of 25 are still kids.
100%. Most people born after the year 2000, in my humble opinion, are still children.
Yes, that would be people that are the age of 25 or younger. I'm glad
I'm
we
gonna keep-
agree.
I'm gonna keep saying that until the year 2050. I'm pretty sure.
That's just because you're a permanently old man.
So nothing's really changed. I found a gray hair in my mustache this morning. I had to pluck that out. That was great.
Yep. I've got a few coming in. I'm thinking about dyeing my hair.
But I found gray hairs on my face and my head when I was like 18, so like nothing's really changed. When I say 18, of course, I mean 1800, in case anyone's worried about it.
So
But
St. Patrick,
St. Patrick,
slave for 6 years.
hmm
Yep.
um, he then was able to escape, became, went back, got some level of education, then went back to Ireland, and started spreading the good word, as it were. And there was a lot of times where he was successful, and other times he nearly died because they didn't like him. But the Celtic Cross, and obviously, a lot of the mythology versus what actually happened is very convoluted because it happened 1,500 plus years ago.
Well, and there's also the whole thing of like
Romanticism.
the common explanation of St. Patrick and what he did is that he drove out the snakes from Ireland. You go, but there are no snakes in Ireland, and then it's like, right. So what does that mean?
That's just one of the myths they did. Actually, looking up other like myths he did, apparently he resurrected 33 people that would have been dead for several years. Like
so yeah, as a saint, he would have had to have performed at least 3 miracles.
Right. Where's my other document?
1, 2, 3. There's a list of legends here.
Yes.
But I'm not seeing them attributed as to which might be the miracles. One of them is having banished the snakes from Ireland. Mm-hmm. He used a shamrock as an illustrative parable. His fast on the mountain, Patrick and Dare. Patrick speaks with ancient Irish ancestors. That would probably be one of them. Patrick and the innkeeper, and the battle for his body.
There's actually in the confessional, which is a series of his letters apparently that he wrote. The voice of the Irish, as Patrick read it, it seemed to hear a certain company of Irish beseeching him to walk once more among them. Deeply moved, he says, I could read no more. Nevertheless, because of the shortcomings of his education, he was reluctant for a long time in responding to the call. So he wasn't, because he was captured at such a young age, and we don't know much about his like childhood life or like his if he was nobility or anything like that.
We actually do know exactly who his father was. His father was someone who held a position in the Roman government, and in fact, the abduction reinterpreted, according to Patrick's own account, it was Irish raiders who brought him to Ireland, where he was enslaved for 6 years. However, a recent alternative interpretation of his departure to Ireland suggests that as the son of a Jacarian, he would have been obliged by Roman law to serve on the town council, the Curia, but chose instead to abscond from the onerous obligations of this office by fleeing abroad, as many others in his position had done in what has become known as the Flight of the Curios. Fletcher also asserts that the improbability of an escape from servitude and a journey of the kind that Patrick purports to have undertaken. He also interprets the biblical allusions in Patrick's account as implying parts of the account may not have been intended to be understood literally, which, to be fair, the Torah and the Old Testament have always been ascribed by most groups who follow them as being mostly parable and moral stories to well, recently for Christians, that's always the way it's been looked at by Jewish people.
Yes.
So
it's very smart. If we're going to be 100% honest, it's a very smart society.
So it is not unheard of then that a religious leader would be telling stories that have some amount of apocrypha or hyperbolic exaggeration to make moral points.
Sure. And kind of jumping off that, kind of with the Shamrock and also the design of the Celtic Cross as trying to convince the pagans to show the importance of Christ as he's the light, he's the sun, which is where the Celtic Cross gets the ring attachment to it. Try to help them with the conversion process. I'm not trying to say St. Patrick was a very good person. Most saints weren't. St. Nicholas killed a bunch of people, if we're being honest. St. Valentine, the only good thing he did, really, he made food baskets. That's where we get the whole gift baskets idea from for Valentine's Day. So I really want to try to convince the wife one year to just go to a soup kitchen for Valentine's Day, because that's what St. Valentine would want us to do. She'd rather go out to eat and watch a movie at a theater, probably, though.
So it looks like his 3 miraculous things that brought him to sainthood, very lame. It is just the having driven the snakes out, using a shamrock to teach the divine Trinity, and then bringing Christianity to Ireland.
It also depends on like what
Well,
myths
what-
we count as.
Well, I'm looking. I specifically searched for his miracles, and that's what I keep getting. What's really great about that is Ireland and the UK as a whole acknowledged that much of Ireland was already Christian before he got there. So he performed 3 miracles, one of which didn't need to happen because there were no snakes, another of which didn't need to happen because there were already Christians there. So he's just a guy.
Like,
yeah.
He's just a guy that was either a slave or decided to ditch his responsibilities as a 16-year-old, which, if I could have been there, done that, but I really couldn't. I was the eldest of 4 and then middle child of 6 because foster care.
I love that. That's hilarious.
And, like, yeah, so if you're going to have an excuse to get really, really drunk, don't blame some guy that was Welsh that left to go to another island. He's not even the Irish saint. Like, he's not even Irish.
There we go.
The Celtic cross, though, is a very pretty, like, symbology, though. I love
Oh, absolutely. That is essentially as much as of the life of St. Patrick that we need to go into. So, we're going to do a quick aside as we check out something special here. We haven't had in a little while, yeah.
Get in here, nerd. We're talking about sports. It's me, it's Tony here with my co-host Ramona. We're talking sports today. This is Sports with Tony. And today's topic is one of my favorites because I want to say some people would say we're getting out of hot sandwich season, and I think that's absolutely wrong. We are always in hot sandwich season. First of all, a sandwich is one of the most versatile meal deliveries, right? You can pretty much throw anything on some slices of bread and call it a day, right? And you can have the argument about what makes a sandwich. I don't care. They're tasty, right? Is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't care. Put it in my mouth, okay? Do you want to call a burrito a sandwich? I don't care. Once again, in my mouth, okay? Do you like what, an open-faced sandwich? Sure, sandwich in my mouth, right? Like, hell, if you want to consider a pizza a sandwich, let's fucking go, all right? I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is the youth of today, the people of today missing out on one of the best things. And yeah, every once in a while you see a TikTok recipe with this, but sandwiches are great. And the best type of a sandwich is one with crispy edges, baby. That's right. And the easiest way to do this is if you happen to be somebody like me who inherited a panini press from another family member, if you just happen to be that person, then boom, you have found your way into sandwich gold, baby. Because you can, like, melted cheese goes with everything, right? Melted cheese goes with everything. So it doesn't matter what meat or vegan protein you want to put on your sandwich. It doesn't really matter what sauces you're putting on your sandwich. You can make a delightful, beautiful sandwich with crispy edges that crunches in as you bite it. You just go, yum, yum, yum. It is one of my favorite sad day meals because I don't have to pre-think. I just look at what is in my fridge and go, whomp, 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 right? Slide that baby in the toaster. Don't actually use the toaster for this, for the record. Use an oven to toast it if you want. You can use a panini press. You can put it in a skillet or a frying pan and toast it up that way. And I would include, here's the other thing. Grilled cheeses are in this subsection of categories of sandwiches. Paninis technically are weighted pressed down, right? And I understand that, and that's great. We're just talking about toasted sandwiches in general, and I don't care whether you call it a toasted cheese or a grilled cheese. I don't care whether you have it with soup or not, though it is pretty delightful with soup. I'm not going to lie. Like, most toasted sandwiches go well with soup, right? Even if it's just an au jus. Oh, give me a little juice with some extra flavor, baby. All right? I can talk about sandwiches all freaking day. And you know what? I could. But we're going to talk about instead some of the sadness that is other types of sandwiches, right? Because sandwiches are all good, but there's some sandwiches that just don't measure up, right? Like, you know, to make a good sandwich, let's take it this way. To make a good sandwich, you need a few factors. You need flavor, step 1. You need texture, step 2. And you need mass, right? A good sandwich is not a light, simple sandwich, right? Like, get out of here with your cucumber and hummus sandwich. I can just dip my bread in hummus. That's fine. And eat some cucumbers. That's great. Doesn't need to be a sandwich, right? Like, your super light. If your sandwich is supposed to be light, why are you putting it on carbs? Because carbs are not light, and that's not their purpose. And that's fine. We're okay with that. That's why we love carbs. Because it's fuel. It is the coal that keeps the home fires burning. Okay? It is what powers you through the day while the rest of the stuff is going, right? Protein's great. Veggies, dietary fiber, all those things, awesome. Sugar has its place, right? I believe it's technically a type of simple carb, actually. Don't quote me on that one. I get lost in the science on that. Because some of it's not quite science when you get in the nutrition realm, right? See the classic fruits versus veggies conversation, right? Where most of your vegetables are actually fruits, technically, scientifically. But for this conversation, we don't give a damn about that. You can call them what you want. We're just worried about making a good sandwich. And we'll take the hummus and cucumber sandwich. It has most of what you would make a good sandwich. The issue here is that it can lack some flavor. It does have an okay texture, depending on your bread. The other biggest thing that you miss with bread, and I see this so very often, especially with mass-produced sandwiches, is having a sandwich that has a bad bread ratio, right? If I bite into your sandwich, right, and it is 2/3 brioche, get out of here. Come on, why are you serving me a sandwich? Like, what are we doing here? Just serve me some toast and, stuff on the side. Like, that's not a good sandwich. The ratio is off. And I would add that as a fourth bullet point to what makes a good sandwich is a bread to filling ratio. And I think that is sort of tangentially included in mass, right? And we can talk Brennan Lee Mulligan, like the best food is heavy food. I don't know that I agree with that per se, but I do agree with sandwiches in that density matters and the caloric production, but also you need to feel the fullness of a sandwich. It is not like a soup where, right, you have like thin soups. People enjoy thin soups all the time. Thin soups are fine. They have their great place. I'm not a huge fan, but you give me some chicken noodle, I'll slurp that baby up. Let's go, right? Like, absolutely. Tomato soup, not super heavy. Delightful. Absolutely would drink it through a straw. Like, if I'm in the hospital and you bring me tomato soup, you're my best friend now. That is something that is, if I can chew, bring me a grilled cheese. We're married. That's legally binding right there. And my wife is worried about that exact scenario. But, we think about it, right? So when you're building this sandwich, right, you got to have texture. And that's another thing that pulls into that ratio. That ratio is sort of an outside category because it pulls from the others. It's not as clean as the first three, right? Because your brioche bread is going to be oftentimes a little bit drier, I feel. It's going to be a little bit more thick, a little more spongy. It's going to have that enriched quality to it, right? If you get like a ciabatta or a bread that tears your mouth up, like I'll enjoy a big baguette. That's fine. But I don't want a baguette that cuts me, right? I am not in a sad day sandwich signing up for a sandwich that bites me back. That's not what I'm here for. This isn't a pineapple scenario where that's part of the goal, right? Pineapple will eat you back as you eat it if you didn't know. Right? But these sandwiches, when they get a little toasty, especially with those crustier breads, because that's what they're mimicking. Really, that's what those crusty breads are supposed to mimic. They're supposed to mimic this panini type feel without actually committing to toasting the bread like God intended. Or whatever being you pray to, right? It could be the void, could be whatever, right? Like whatever higher power you look to, maybe that is yourself. The intent of this world, the intent of all of human civilization has come to the point of delightful, heated, toasted sandwiches. And you can find a crusty, dry bread around that. But you know in your heart it doesn't do the same. You know in your heart it doesn't do the same. So this is what I need you to know, is that if you are not having toasted sandwiches on the regular, and you have the ability to, I know some people don't have the ability to for some reason or another, right? Those of us with gluten intolerances, it makes it much harder. I understand that. There are probably ways around it. If you're really into it, right? Like if you make a sandwich with like a mushroom bread, oh baby, let's go, right? There are ways around it, but some of us just can't for one reason or another. And I get that. I'm not forcing you into eating paninis, but what I am saying is if you have the ability and you're not, you're missing out on one of the richest parts of life. Almost as akin to falling in love is eating a panini on a cold day when you are just so hungry and you can smell it cook and melt and sizzle. Let me tell you, that will fill up your heart as quickly as good friendship. And here's the thing about paninis. You can make them with friends. My wife loves a good panini. One of the things I very much love about her. It's low on the list. Don't get it twisted. I love a lot of things about her. So it's low on the list. But it is important in our life. And is probably second only to when we get wings. She likes the wing and I like the drum. And we split it 50-50. And everybody is the happiest possible person. Get you somebody like that. Get you somebody you can share a panini with. Because a panini is paramount to love. And me sharing this love with you is letting you know that I love you too. So, before we get too hot and bothered out here, because we are getting a little heated, I'm going to need you to know this has been Sports with Tony. And before I leave, make sure when you come out swinging. And you don't drop the ball. Okay? Because this is hands down the best way. And you could hit below the belt, but this would be a true knockout. That has been Sports with Tony. Take care, y'all.
Hello and welcome back. That was Sports with Tony.
We love you, Tony.
Well, I mean, we tolerate Tony.
I mean, he
all
gets
right.
paid like $400 every time he does one of those segments, so I don't know why we wouldn't love him. We could just get someone else to do it.
4-hour D&D conversation. Anyway. We're going to do a tier list. Woo!
Yay!
I don't like that that's an E. That should be an F. There we go. S, A, B, C, D, and F. Mm-hmm. We are going to randomly draw a class and work through all of its subclasses until we have ranked all of the subclasses in 5th edition up to the up to stopping right before the 2024 rules. So our first class that we will be discussing is
wheel. Chat can't see it, so I'm singing a song.
the Bard.
Okay. One of my favorite classes to play, actually.
Awesome. I like Bard, but I like very specific Bard subclasses. So the very first
Yes,
one is the Valor Bard.
It's a good tank. It's very helpful. I would put it anywhere. I would put it at least in B tier.
Yeah?
The inspirations that they get for it, so that way it can be used for anything, saving throws, attack rolls, anything like that, is pretty nice.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think the Song of Rest also gets a couple buffs. It's been a while.
Honestly, the Valor Bard is not one that I'm super up on because I don't normally like a lot of Gish characters or like heavy spellcasters that do major melee or vice versa.
Sure.
And I promise that won't come back as a double standard later on in this list. But
right, like Warlocks.
Sure. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm not super well up on Valor Bards, but I do think that all Bards are pretty good, so I'm absolutely happy with that. Speaking of Gish Bards, this College of Swords.
College of Swords, the only cool thing about them, other than they get 2 attacks, is that you can add their inspiration die to a damage roll, which is kind of cool.
I think that is awesome. Go ahead.
Which pairs up really well if you have a rogue or a barbarian with great weapon master, so that way they get the flat 10 or the sneak attack dice.
I think any Gish that does get multiple attacks immediately is better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because otherwise you run into
did get that.
Yeah. Otherwise you run into the whole thing of like, well, why would I use an attack action even though it's what my class is built around when I could cast the spell that does so much more damage? Yeah, but you could do multiple attacks.
Yeah, I have a hot take about the Valor Bard. If you're going to make a subclass feel more tanky, give them the advantage of being more tanky. Make the Valor Bard have a D10 HP die.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Or just a flat health buff.
Yeah, plus kind of like with a Dragonborn Sorcerers, they get plus 1 HP for every level. Yeah.
Yes. I think that'd be a really cool way to do it. Up next is College of Whispers, which is absolutely one of my favorites. Any subclass that gives you psychic damage is dope.
Yes, that is easily an A tier for me as well. It might go into S tier later. I'd say it's above Swords for me though.
Yeah.
One of my favorite NPCs and characters ever made is a College of Whispers Bard.
College of Spirits, that'll be the Necromancer themed bard.
I think it's more the Cleric Bard.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like you can talk to ghosts, things like that, but I'm reading it right now. I believe you get some healing buffs, don't you?
Let me pull this
I have it in front of me. Channeling spirits. Yeah, starting at 6th level, you cast a bard spell dealing more damage to resolve hit points and spiritual focus. Roll a d6. You gain 1 bonus damage die or healing roll.
Nice.
It's kind of the cleric-y sort of like little bit of flavor text. I'd say that's also an 8 tier.
Absolutely. College of Spirits is great. College of Lore.
College of Lore, I play. It's fine. I mean, they get magical secrets a little earlier than everyone else. But yeah, that's below Valor Bar. If not, that's in C tier.
Yeah, C.
Play a wizard or play a College of Knowledge Domain Cleric if you're gonna play someone like that.
College of Eloquence Bard, I would say is S tier.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's all about talking talking shit and talking your way through things.
I've never actually played it, but yeah, they have the rogue trick. Level 3, you treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10 at level 3.
On persuasion and deception checks. So yeah they're immediately better than a rogue at lying and convincing people to do things. You can lace your speech with magic to unsettle creatures and cause them to doubt themselves. So when you do your bardic inspiration, the creature must subtract the roll that you assign to it. So you can give bardic inspiration in a negative capacity.
Yeah.
Universal speech, they have the ability to just speak any language.
Yeah, that's definitely S tier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never played an Eloquence Bard. I'll have to try that sometime.
My oldest D&D character started pre-Eloquence Bard existing because it's from 3rd edition. But it was always flavored to play that way, so once the Eloquence Bard came out, I was like, well, that's exactly what he has to be.
Yeah.
College of Creation. I think that's another really cool one.
Yes.
You get like a literal mote of creation, a little musical note that like floats around and gets to do really cool effects.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think it's B tier.
Fantasia or like Disney feeling to it.
Yeah, it does have that vibe.
I'd say put it in C tier, honestly, because it has cool concepts, but in a game, I don't feel like it would do a lot of cool things. It's more flavor text things. Like
That's fair. And then the last one for Bard is the Glamour Bard, which is, in my opinion, it's just a slightly worse version of the Eloquence Bard.
Yeah, no, and it was one of the first things that's in 5e. So like,
yeah. All right, that is Bards taken care of. As we move on to the
spread,
next
actually.
one, yeah, we did.
Can we put Lore Bard into D tier so we're not being a little too biased on bards?
All right, next up is Rogues.
Ah, yes, the edgy McEderson boys of Edgerly fashion.
So, first up is the Assassin Rogue. It's iconic and it's cool. Is it good?
You get anytime you are in front of initiative, if you're going before the person, you get sneak attack automatically.
Now, keep in mind, we're talking base 5e, 2014 rules.
That's 2014 rules.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, I'll check real quick.
I'm on the wrong...
Yeah, you get advantage on any... that's at level 3.
Yeah.
Starting at 3rd level, you're the deadliest when you get the drop on your enemies.
At
level 13, you get a lot of, like, flavor text with the in-person, the imposter.
That's the part that I'm like, is it really worth it? Because the whole imposter thing at 13th level is so niche. If you're not playing an RP-heavy campaign, you will never use that.
That's
which
true.
is why
the
I
assassinate
think
for the damage part is pretty good, just at level 3.
I think that the assassin has to be no higher.
I'd say it's more, if you're doing a combat heavy campaign, it's much more convenient than the Valor Bard. And I've played a Valor Bard for a long time. I'd say it's at least above the Valor Bard.
I will put it above Valor in B.
Yes.
Next up is the Scout, which is the Ranger Light.
I'm actually playing that in my campaign I'm doing with Antipod. It's a lot of fun.
Perfect. Yeah?
You basically, as a reaction, you can move up to half your speed, just if someone ends a turn 5 feet away from you, you're just like, nope, and then you can just like back away, which is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And like, it's all about movement speed and like speed. Like at level 9, your walking speed increases by 90 feet, so you're moving the same speed as like monks and barbarians. A little later, but you also get the bonus action dash option. So
yeah,
it's.
By the way, you misspoke. You said by 90 feet. It's by 10 feet.
By 10 feet, sorry.
Yeah.
At 9th level, 10 feet.
I was like, holy shit, they turn into the Flash at 9th level?
I mean, they basically already are, because they can move 90 feet regularly, so now it's 120 feet.
Yeah.
I plan on popping, giving it him the mobile feat next ability score improvement, though.
Well, and if you were a Wood Elf, you'd already have an additional 5 feet.
That's true, but that's not the case. He's a kobold.
Scout. So where do we want to put that?
Say it's an A tier.
Hey, I'm happy with that.
Movement flavor ability.
Then is the Inquisitive, which you get...
I love the Inquisitive.
Some interesting things. So at 3rd level, you develop a talent for picking out lies. When you make Insight, you can treat a roll of 7 or lower as being an 8, which is like a lesser version of the later rogue thing, but you get it at 3rd, so nice. You also get to make perception checks and investigation checks as a bonus action to to spot hidden things. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Also at 3rd level is the insightful fighting, which is their bread and butter.
It's so broken.
Yeah.
Honestly, A tier for me at least.
Absolutely. And the fact that you get all 3 of these at 3rd level when you take the subclass is awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd put this right amongst Whispers and Swords.
Yeah, 100%.
Following that is the Mastermind.
This is your Sherlock's Holmes types.
Yeah, so you've got at 3rd level, you get proficiency with a disguise kit, and you can mimic people. So that thing that the Assassin Rogue gets at 9th level, you get at 3rd.
Yeah. Let's scroll up real quick. Let's. I'd say that
because of that, I still want to bump Assassin back and put Mastermind where it was.
Yes.
You also get insightful manipulator, where you can learn about an opponent's stats, which is really interesting.
It's kind of like the Inquisitive Rogue, except it's outside of combat as well, which is kind of fun.
Absolutely. Next up is the Soul Knife Rogue, which is my favorite rogue. Again, anything that gives you psychic damage is amazing, but also the ability to telepathically link the entire party is so useful. This one, I think, also goes straight up to S, just because it is combat effective and RP effective. It fits everywhere.
Also, at level 9, the Honing Strikes, when you make an attack roll with Psychic Blades, and you miss a target, you could once again die to add the number roll to it. So you basically just get free Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah. And teleportation with that same ability. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your Psychic Blades, expend a Psychic Energy die, roll it, throw the blade at an unoccupied space you can see, up to equal to 10 times the number rolled, and then teleport to that space.
Yeah. And it looks like the Psionic die only stays a D6, which is cool.
It does go up. So that was at 9th level. So at 9th level, it would be a D8. It's 5d8, 11d10, and 17d12.
Yeah.
But still, D8, that's 80 feet. You could just boof. Love it. Phantom Rogue.
It's a phantom.
That's the one where you have dead people following you and helping you.
Yes. It's fun.
It's flavorful. It's all right.
Yeah. I'd say Can I say this right now, actually? Thief, C tier. Just straight up, Thief, I'd say, is in C tier.
I'm good with that.
Phantom Rogue, though, I'd say it's fun. It's definitely more flavor text if you're doing a Lovecraftian story or, like, Curse of Strahd. Like, this would be a perfect, like...
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things where the lower levels are really meh, but then as you get higher levels with it, it starts getting really good and fun. But most campaigns just don't survive that long. So I think...
Yeah, most campaigns are happy to survive to, like, level 10.
I think low B for that one.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just, it doesn't have anything exciting. Arcane Trickster, the Wizard Rogue.
I feel the same way about, like, the Eldritch Knight subclass. They're fine. Nothing above a B tier, in my opinion, though.
That's totally fair. I just recently played an Arcane Trickster. And I actually ended up flavoring it as kind of like a mini Artificer.
Sure.
And it was really fun. Yeah. But
the Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight can just be reflavored as Artificers before Artificers were a thing. Because that's what they were.
Yeah. But yeah, it was never, like, especially powerful. I didn't, like, get a whole lot of really cool stuff that I use outside of combat. It was just, it was fine.
Yeah. Smoke bomb sort of thing.
Yeah. I could cast a magic missile once a day.
Yeah. Which is just a wand of magic missiles that has one charge on it, like...
Yeah.
Or a gun.
The Swashbuckler Rogue.
You have a very special place in your heart for the Swashbuckler
Oh, yeah.
Rogue.
Rick was a Swashbuckler, and I think it's got to go... As much as I love it, it can't really go above B. I will push both of these above Phantom. So, here's the thing. Most of what Swashbuckler gives you, you get fancy footwork, which means that you can use your sneak attack if you're alone with someone, instead of having to have an ally there. So that's nice. That is a good boost on sneak attack. And you also get to add your charisma to your initiative rolls.
Yeah.
And then after that, it like, you don't get anything very powerful or super cool for it beyond that until 17th level, where Master Duelist, beginning at 17th, your Mastery of the Blade lets you turn failure into success in combat. If you miss with an attack roll, you can roll again with advantage. Once you do so, you can't use this feature for a long or short rest. So once a day, maybe twice, you can re-roll your attack with advantage.
I would say, though, that anyone that thinks of characters like Puss in Boots or Zorro or, like, Wesley, like we talked about the Princess Bride earlier, he's 100% a Swashbuckler Rogue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It's really cool. It's not really good though.
It's a good add-on to a certain character.
Absolutely.
If you're going to, it's a good, like, that's one of the classes. Rogue's a great class to add on to your character, to, like, give them some more depth if you're feeling like one class isn't
Well,
just
and
doing
specifically
enough.
with Rick, that's exactly what I did. He started as a rogue, and then I, from there, was going mostly sorcerer.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
Well, that wraps up our rogues. So let's see who we have next.
I get poor lore bard in D tier.
It's okay. It might have some friends with this one because now we're talking blood hunters. Not that I have anything against blood hunter. There's just some stuff here.
That's a very nice way of saying they're not good.
First up is Order of the Lycan, which might be the only definitively good one. You get to be a half werewolf.
But they have a shifter species that you can do for that.
To be fair, this predates the shifter.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Lycan specifically. You get heightened senses, you get a hybrid transformation. One thing that I kind of get frustrated with is that, like, they say just use, like, the hunter, like, the werewolf that you find in the monster manual.
Uh-huh.
But then they give you a list of things that happen when you transform also.
Yep.
I adore Matthew Mercer. He's a fine dungeon master and a great person. But
this was an early attempt at stuff too, though, because later on, Critical Role stuff for official 5th edition stuff is all pretty good.
Yes.
I think a great example of that is like the Reborn race, which is something that we've all messed around with within our group.
I would say B tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just because, like, at level 3, the Bloodlust, you start your turn with fewer hit points than half your hit point maximum. You must exceed D8 Wisdom saving throw, or move directly towards the nearest creature and use an attack action against your character. This is fine on paper, but most people that play Blood Hunter either dump Wisdom as their stat, or have it be very good, so it ruins that sort of flavor text you're trying to put into it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So next is the Profane Soul, which, if you are unaware, is like if you're playing a warlock, but worse. So you make a pact with a warlock patron, and then you get pact magic, but instead of being like a warlock, where you get 2 spell slots a day, and then you can restore them on a short rest, you get 1 spell slot.
Yes.
I do think it still recharges on a short rest, which is nice, but you get half as many spell slots as a warlock.
Right.
And you're still playing a Gish character, so, like, unless you do it right, you just have a character that can't fight and can't do magic.
They do have two attacks at 6th level, I believe, or is it 8th level? I don't even. Or 5th level, not 6th.
Yeah, 5th.
5th. So, like, it's technically a caster, but also a major pointer for Blood Hunter is that every time you try to use any of your magics, you have to take at least a d6 of damage.
Yeah, any of the Blood Hunter specific stuff. Your pact magic is separate. But yeah, so I'm going to say Profane Soul is the first straight up F. It's bad.
Okay. That, you know what? Fair. I would say Ghost Slayer is easily A tier for me, and that is 100% because of Molly Mock Tea Leaf.
That's fair. Real quick on Profane Soul, I just want to say one other thing. If you like Profane Soul, play 2 levels of Blood Hunter, and then just play an actual Warlock.
Yeah. Actually, also, can the Profane Soul even have charisma as its, like, casting modifier? I thought it was only intelligence or wisdom.
I saw charisma listed in here somewhere. Oh, no, it is intelligence or wisdom, yeah.
So, well, that's because they're trying to be like, this is a craft you studied or thing. Just play an Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
And put a few levels in Blood Hunter if you want to do that. Or Rogue. Yeah. Do not play Blood Hunter because you want to be the tank of the group, unless you're giving yourself the tough feat early on.
Yep. And you're playing like a dwarf or something.
Yeah. Like my character we had for that one little campaign we were running for a little bit, where I was playing a half orc named that was a blood hunter. So I had if I get knocked out 1 HP, I can wake myself back up.
Yeah.
That kind of worked.
Now we're on to Ghost Slayer. You've got that in A because.
Yeah. It's by far the cleanest in my opinion, because it has it has not only do you get light spell, you also resistant to necrotic damage just off the bat at level 3. And anytime you hit an undead creature, so if you're doing like a Lovecraftian or horror campaign, you do additional damage die with it every time. So it's kind of got that ranger kind of like favorite enemy sort of like flavor a little bit.
Fair. And then finally
Also, a curse specialist, you can use your blood curses on creatures that don't have blood, even if they don't have any.
Yeah. Finally is the mutant, which is supposed to be like straight up the Witcher subclass.
Mm-hmm.
It's alright. It plays a lot like the alchemist artificer that they tried to do in UA a long time ago, where you kind of just get a pocket full of potions that can all do various alright things. None of them are super busted, but that's fine.
I'd say C tier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between Creation and Thief, I think.
Awesome. Alright, next up.
If we're dissing your favorite subclass, be on your own show and talk about it and diss us.
Yeah.
We won't.
Yeah, that's right. Alright, now we've got everybody's favorite class, the Fighter.
Can I say Fighter's fine? Don't hate on it because it's the most basic thing. If people enjoy Fighter, that's fine. It's fun. Sometimes you just want to whack something hard, but also wear armor. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know what this is, so I'm gonna... The Banneret?
Hold on. Yeah, no, that's not in the... Huh,
cool.
Weird.
So we're gonna just put this at the end of the list and pretend it's not there.
Put an F tier for not existing.
First up is the Champion.
You put more Fighter into your Fighter for Fighter's sake.
It's also one of the only ways in 5th edition to reduce the number needed to roll to hit a critical.
That is true.
It's my favorite fighter subclass. It's also the most basic. So I think
would say it's
low B or high C.
tier.
Yeah.
Top of C tier.
It has almost no flavor. This is a white person.
I'm a little resentful, but I understand.
But it's a white person that tells good jokes.
Yeah. Again, I'm a little offended, but I understand.
Next is the Arcane Archer, which I think is the next F tier.
Yeah, they're trying to make Ranger better. And, like, sometimes some of the things you can get are kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you get most of them at 15th level.
Also, the whole purpose of this build is, look at my cool trick arrows. Oh, cool, how many do you get to use a day? 2. And they reset on a long rest. It is per day, I can do 2 cool things. And then after that,
Hawkeye
I'm just a guy. This is the shittiest version of Hawkeye ever. If I had a lower than F tier, I would put it there.
We could just put Ranger and an Archer class. Also, Ranger's not going to be all in F or D tier.
Yeah.
Make that very clear.
There are lots of good Rangers. So, from Arcane Archer, here's something that does the same gimmick but 1,000 times better. The Gunslinger.
Yes.
And it's a good example of one of Matt Mercer's classes.
Yes. I would say that it is above Ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, you also played a Gunslinger recently.
Yeah, I did. Stitch was really cool. The Gunslinger is really fun.
Yeah.
It's great. It's done well, and it's fun to play, and you get cool abilities. Nothing else needs said on it.
The one thing I will say is that if you're going to have a person play a Gunslinger, make sure that you make most of your enemy NPCs also have the potential to have guns.
Yes.
Otherwise, it feels very unbalanced. The party can kind of go through everything. Nope. A couple of the guys, they got rifles. All right, you're doing what? 1d10 damage. Cool. This guy's doing 2d8. Like,
yeah.
Oh no! Like if you're gonna start going towards the Middle Ages versus Renaissance, like, own up to that in your technology.
Next up is the Echo Knight, which I also played an Echo Knight fighter that was really cool.
I'm looking. Oh, here it is. It's up
Yeah, so it's a pretty neat one. That the way I did that, I did an Echo Knight fighter that focused on the bow, and I would always back my character into somewhere where there's only one way in, and I'd put my Echo at the entrance of that space. So my character was fighting out, and then had essentially their own bodyguard.
Yeah, it feels like almost like a monk style of like fighter brain.
It does have a very similar vibe to the Astral Self Monk.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think it's pretty good. High B or low A is for me.
Let's put it between Swashbuckler and Arcane Trickster.
I'm good with that. Then is the Battle Master. My least favorite, personally, fighter, although I acknowledge they're fine.
Mm-hmm. They make it too complicated. They try to do something fun, but it's worded so poorly.
Yeah.
I would love to do some of the things, because this is basically all the flavor text things you could do in 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
You could disarm somebody. You could basically order someone to drop their weapon. You could do some fancy footwork and get a bunch of +4s, +6s, and like roll extra dice for flavor. But instead, we're just
you could make one of your party members make an attack instead of you.
Yeah. If it was worded better, this would be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It just isn't. So I'm gonna say it's in D tier.
I'm good with that. I would also like to say that in most situations, when somebody's playing a fighter, it's because they want something that is simple and easy to understand. They're like, I'm going to play this and just dive right in. So whenever you get to Battle Master, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'm going to control the fight. And then you're like, oh, I've got like books to read. Yeah. It's a lot.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but then you have to add your superiority die and only that works sometimes.
Yep.
And like,
at that point, you're playing a spellcaster without spells.
Yeah.
Next up is the Rune Knight, the Giant Knight.
I've had players who have played this. A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
The only like major kind of the thing that I have with it, it's kind of like the Warlock or the Paladin, where you only get certain ones per like level of spells. It's another half spellcaster without doing it technical.
Yeah.
But certain ones are gatekeeped by level.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine.
I do think the ability, like the enlarge self, whatever it's called, ability that they have is Giant always Smite. Super awesome. That's the one.
Easy B tier, if not early A tier for me.
Absolutely. Let's put it right at the end of A.
Yeah.
Next up, we've talked about it a little bit, is the Eldritch Knight.
Put it right next to the
Arcane Trickster.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I would say
there.
it's in front of Arcane Trickster because of the D10 HP.
That's fair. Yeah. So after that is the Cavalier.
Never seen it done. It sounds like a lot of fun, but very situational.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's one of those things where if you're playing in a campaign that's all set in one city and you never need a steed, your subclass is immediately undone.
Right, but also, like, how often are you doing combat where you're on your horse? Or on your dog, or because I'd love to see, like, a gnome or goblin, like, fighter that's Cavalier. They're just riding, like, this giant dog, like, in the labyrinth with Serdismus.
Yes.
Just charging... Because he's a Cavalier fighter. That's what he is.
I think it's low C or high D, just because it's way too specific.
Yeah. Like the Lore Bard.
Samurai Fighter, which...
easily S tier.
It has one of the best abilities in all of 5th edition, which is 3 times a day, I've decided I have advantage on all of my attacks. Also, I'm a fighter, so all of my attacks are a lot of attacks.
Yeah. Easily the best fighter subclass, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And then finally is the Psy Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Which does do the psychic damage thing.
Right, but in a funky way.
Yeah, it's another weird one.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
It's kind of like the Phantom Rogue kind of thing, like where it's only during specific things, but it can telepathically teleport. It can do strikes. But honestly, I think Champion's more fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna put it at the end of C.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next.
Farewell, fighters. You might be missed.
Our list is getting smaller.
Yes.
Ooh. Apparently we're not done bullying people. Because next is the Ranger.
Ah. Fun.
Alright. This is okay. We just have
Which
to be
one?
nice.
Right.
First
Honestly,
up is the Monster Slayer.
okay, but before we get into it, we want to make it very clear. Not all Ranger subclasses are bad. Not 5th edition. Not all of them are bad. The one that everyone wants to play is awful until it got slightly remastered, and then it was still awful.
Yeah.
But some of these are really fun. The Monster Slayer is pretty dope if you're doing the campaign where you're fighting giants. That's a lot of fun. And if you're dealing with fighting, like, this one would be one that'd be fun for, like, an edgier witchcraftian sort of thing. Like, you're going after beasts. Cool.
Yeah. I think the Monster Slayer, especially for
C
like
tier.
anything within the Ranger, we have to just rate on its own scale.
Yeah.
It's not
Also,
on the par with everything else, but it's still
there's
it's good.
a slight elephant in the room that is kind of why also people step away from Ranger. There's a lot of just casual racism involved in the Ranger.
Yeah.
Favorite enemies, favorite monsters, things like that. One of the reasons why I like the Monster Slayer is because it doesn't specifically favorite enemy is humanoids. What kind? Goblin? Nope.
Yeah.
Humans? That's another reason why a lot of people, I think, in my opinion, step away from it. Because of that.
Well,
Maybe that's just me.
Even outside of that, because if you don't choose humanoid, then it feels less of that. Because you can be like, my favorite enemy is dragons. And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then the flip side of that is your favorite terrain. It's like, oh, this is my favorite terrain. I'm so good at it. Oh, well, our campaign's never going to interact with that terrain, so you don't get any benefits. So, oh, okay. Yeah. Next up is Gloomstalker, which is awesome.
It's a very metal name, and it's pretty fun. It's very much like you'd be a buddy with the Ents sort of vibes, and...
Well, and you get special dark vision, and you get to be invisible to things with dark vision.
Yes. This is one
that's
at
third level.
Yeah. This one is very fun to do with a rogue combo.
Yeah. And I do think it easily goes to the end of A or high B.
Let's put it in high B, right above Master. Yeah, highest of B until we look at some other things. And we'll readjust when we get there. Yeah.
Beautiful. Drake Warden.
This is for the Dragon Rider lovers. You read Aragon, you want to ride a dragon.
And I think Sky played this one for a while, and it was all right. It was pretty cool. You get to have a little dragon friend, and you choose, whenever you're using it, what its element is going to be. So every single day you can have a different one.
That seems a little broken in a lore perspective, because you have a shape-shifting dragon.
To be fair, a Drake is technically different in D&D, and it plays a bit like a familiar, more than an individual creature. But I agree, stats-wise that can be a little crazy. But yeah, it's all right. In terms of the animal companion ones.
Yes, I'd say easily middle B tier, next to Assassin or Eldritch Knight.
I'm good with that. Horizon Walker.
I've never seen one of these played.
I haven't either, but they're
it looks
very...
like you're a portal cop, like you're trying to go between different realms.
Yeah. So you're like, you are policing extraplanar travel. And so you get, as a ranger, you get teleportation spells, which is really cool.
Yes.
Flavor-wise, it's a really neat one. I've never seen it played, so I can't really put it above C.
I put it above Champion. Because I'm looking at Planar Warrior. As a bonus action, choose one creature within front of you. Next time you hit the creature with weapon attack, all dice adult damage become force damage. Nothing's resistant to force damage.
Yeah.
And the creature takes an extra D8 force damage on that attack. Honestly, move that up to A. That's just very cool at level 3 just to get, because everything becomes force damage.
Yeah, no, honestly, that is pretty great. And that ability also levels up at 11th to 2d8.
Yeah, that's broken. If you max that with a rogue, you're
that
going to be pumping out some
That
mega
also
damage.
doesn't have a cap. You can just continue doing that every turn.
Yeah, you can just switch it.
Okay,
As
no,
bonus
that's
action.
I take it back. That is absolutely A tier easy. Next up is the Fey Wanderer.
It's similar to the Gloomstalker, except Fey specific. You're a Fey guy.
And instead of force damage, you can do psychic damage.
Yes.
It is extra damage, so you just do extra damage every turn, once per turn. It also levels up from a D4 to a D6, also at 11th.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a weaker version of the one we were just talking about.
It really does. It's a lot of its abilities are similar, just less good. It also gets Misty Step at 5th level. Yeah, if you want to play Fey Wanderer, play Horizon Walker instead. And I'll put this where we had Horizon Walker before, so right in front of Champion. If I can.
Yeah.
There we go. Next up is one of the most fun conceptually, the Swarm Keeper.
Never actually seen someone play the Swarm Keeper, but
You
I
have.
imagine this would. We have?
You have. Whoopi played a Swarm Keeper.
I didn't realize that was their subclass.
Yep. They had a swarm of rats.
They really want to play that campaign again.
Yeah. Well, now that I am getting back into work, I will have a set schedule and can be more reliable and things like that.
You should let them know that, because I know that wife and I would be more than down to play that.
Well, and I've also just closed all my home games, so I've got more time in terms of that as well.
Oh. We'll talk later.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I've done a thing.
Nice background.
Neat. Let me open that back up somehow. Don't hit whatever button I accidentally just hit. It ruins things. Okay, Ghoul. Cool. It
Ghouls.
saved. It saved our progress.
Awesome, beautiful. That almost was bad. Swarm Keeper. We didn't really get to see it be used at all, though.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So, because I don't know anything about it, I would say it's less cool than Fey Wanderer, though.
Oh, absolutely. It was neat, but it wasn't like at all powerful or anything like that. You get to do what it says in the tin, which is summon swarms of beasties.
Which is fun. I imagine someone with bees, that'd be a lot of fun, like Minecraft-sized bees.
Oh yeah, and in fact, now that I'm back into where I can see everything, you can roll for your swarm appearance, and the options that it suggests are swarm of insects, miniature twig blights, fluttering birds, or playful pixies. You get fairy fire, gaseous form, insect plague as spells given to you.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a cute, flavorful thing. I think it goes right around
I'd say
Fey
it goes
Wanderer.
next to the thief.
Okay, yeah. Next is the Hunter Ranger.
Probably one of the best ones.
Oh, absolutely.
It's easily S tier. You can do so much damage, and you can design your character so cleanly.
It has a lot of versatility in your character creation, and also one of the most powerful things that can happen in D&D requires Hordebreaker, which is the fact that if they're spaced out right, you can have as many attacks as you have targets with Hordebreaker.
I would say, though, I feel like Gloomstalker is cooler. Like, Hunter does the more damage, but Gloomstalker is definitely... I think put Gloomstalker in S. That just sounds... I want to play a Gloomstalker now.
If we do that, we have to bump Horizon Walker 2.
That's fine.
All right, so and
no,
then
I'd say
Horizon Walker was already in A.
I put it closer between Whispers and Glamour.
Okay.
And then put Hunter in A tier, I'd say.
There we go.
Yeah, that looks, yeah.
See, we talk shit about Rangers, but none of them are below C so far.
Well, give it a second.
Now let's talk about the Beastmaster. It goes below C. Now,
Beastmaster.
To be fair, there's two versions of this. There's the original version, where you get to choose a CR0 beast that never levels up. Because when Wizards created the Beastmaster Ranger, this is still very early in 5th edition, they did not expect that people would grow attached to their fantasy pet and would want it to like level up and come with them. They're like, they're going to take a dog, and then the dog is going to die, and they're going to get another dog.
Like World of Warcraft. Like,
yeah.
You can just change them out. Difference, like, but even in a newer version, it's still
bad.
Very bad. Honestly, easy D or F tier for me, just out of principle. It's supposed to be the one that everyone wants to go to. It just sucks.
If they had not updated it, it would sit in F easy for me. Because they did update it, I'm willing to give it a low D.
You would give it a low D.
Alright. And then, let me pull this back up. Next class is... Ooh. This is one that I don't mess around with a lot. That's the Druid.
In my humblest of opinions, Druid is the most broken class out of all the D&D classes on paper.
Yeah?
At highest level, it is very difficult to kill a level 20 Druid, if not impossible.
Absolutely, for a high-level Druid. But first, we're going to talk about a Circle of the Shepherd Druid.
This one is really, really cool. It was one of the last ones that they made.
Yeah.
And if you watch Legends of Evantris, Gricko's a Circle of the Shepherd inspired Druid.
Okay.
Turd, the guy that replaced Bull, he was a Circle of the Shepherd Druid.
You know what's really funny about this? The Circle of the Shepherd Druid is a better version of the Beastmaster Ranger.
Yes. 100%. Easily, and from what I've played from it, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like you can flavor text any of your spirits to change, like to be different things.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. It's easily a high C or late B tier for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it at the end of B. That takes us to the Wildfire Druid, which
that's an S tier for me.
Absolutely.
That is so broken.
First of all, conceptually, to go, yeah, you are a defender of nature and the forest and the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. So what you do is you burn down the entire goddamn forest.
New life, like I remember that character I played for that Halloween one shot we did with Willow. It was like a little guy, the little wood golem. That was so much fun.
It really was. Wildfire Druid is amazing, and you get the little fire companion. Yeah, no, I have nothing else
also,
on that.
Also, it's a healing subclass. It gets Revivify.
Yeah. Then, speaking of healing, is the Necromancy Druid Circle of Spores.
I've never... But to go... You know, remember the whole Freckled Hobo debacle?
Yeah.
It happened years ago. I played a game with them back years and years ago on a channel, actually with Dice Cream Sandwich as the DM. And they had made a subclass called Circle of the Freckle, which was basically a Circle of the Spore offshoot. It looked like it was kind of fun.
I have a place in my heart for any necromancer.
That is true. You do have a bone on for bones.
They're dope. And they're the form of companion or little guy collecting classes that I would want to play. I don't care about collecting forest creatures and little fuzzy friends. I want an army of zombies to go be waiters for me at a restaurant.
No, you want little fuzzy friends if they're those ants that have mushrooms growing out of their heads.
Ooh, nope.
That's why they're fuzzy. They're mushrooms.
Granted, that's exactly what this class is, but I hate cordyceps.
That's exactly what it is.
It is, and for that reason, it's got to be A.
I feel like Shepherd's funner though.
Yeah.
So
let's put it here.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Definitely
right.
cool. And honestly, put Shepherd in front of Arcane Trickster.
Yeah.
I'd be much more excited to see an Arcane Shepherd Circle of Shepherd Druid than an Arcane Trickster.
That's
in a
fair.
Class. Like that's how I'm kind of picturing. Like, what would we be excited to see within our players playing these classes?
Tell me about the Circle of Dreams.
It's basically very Fae touched. A lot of druids are Fae flavored because a lot of people want to kind of, I'm with the trees, I'm with the Fae.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that's where we get the term druid. Is those types of people.
Yes. They're actually worshippers. Like you can kind of flavor what court they'd be a part of. It's very good if you're doing a Fae heavy campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's very situational.
So do we want to put that around the Fae Walker, or do you think it's better or worse?
It's better than the Fae Walker, but not much better. It's like if you're going to do a Fae campaign, I'd put Spores up probably near the Phantom Rogue, and then if you want to put, I'm reading through this just to make sure. It focuses on healing.
Yeah.
It's a healing subclass. A little bit. It gets a lot of dream, scrying, teleportation circle spells, which is cool. But yeah, I'd say top of C tier for now.
That's fine. Circle of the Land is next, and this is going to be one of the original ones that came with 5th edition.
I didn't like it. I thought it was boring.
So Circle of the Land and Circle of the Moon for me were both so basic, but at least with Circle of the Moon, you got a cool specialization.
Yes.
Circle of the Moon.
Circle of the Moon is one of those that everyone's like, I'm edgy, I get these cool things. But
which I'm going to drop that right into A tier. There's not really any debate on that. You get to turn into a bunch of cool animals.
Yes. Circle of Land, though, honestly, low D tier for me. It's just boring.
I'm good with that. And then also a very late comer to 5th edition is Circle of the Stars, which got a new version in the new books. And it plays kind of cleric light. You get guidance and guiding bolt, and you get to like do special things all along the lines of like following the stars. You get Cosmic Omen, which gives you a sort of divination into the causality of things. Mm-hmm. I think it's an all right one.
It's also fun for all the people that like zodiacs and things.
It's very flavorful.
Yeah,
easy right there. Which we've got a nice little line of druids there. We'll break that at some point.
I'm sure.
Speaking of breaking that, let us now choose our next class. Looks like we will.
I feel like Shepherd should be higher, but we'll do a rechange and make sure everything we like where it is at the end.
That's fair. Next up is also late to the game, the Artificer.
Oh boy.
Okay. Battlesmith.
You get your K9 from your Doctor Who. Which.
Yeah. You get the robot dog.
Yeah, robot dog, which is cool, which is fun. I also like how basically if it blows up, you could just make another one. Like it added a couple fun flavor things. I'd say Battlesmith is easily top of B or A tier.
I agree with top of
just
B.
Just because you get the cool dog.
And when I've played a Battlesmith, I always flavored him as a kind of like combat medic.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Then after that is the Artillerist, which I think is probably one of the favorites for it.
Yes.
But even though it sounds guns, it's mostly wand crafting.
Yeah, but also here's another thing. Like, even with the cannon, it has such specific uses.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't do a lot of damage. It does 2d6.
Yeah. Or
which at early levels is
2d8.
At level 3, I'm sorry, that's how much HP it has.
Yeah, it does for damage that it does. It does 2d8 with the flamethrower or the force ballista, and it can grant temporary hit points of 1d8.
Right. Which is fine early levels, but I feel like it drops off from higher levels you play in Artificer.
It absolutely does.
Is you get more attunement slots. You can have up, I think, to 5 at level 20 or something like that, which is just nonsense. At level 9,
also
all damage goes up by 8.
The protector form of the cannon, it gives you temporary hit points, so it doesn't even really heal you. So if you get knocked fully down, that's it. It doesn't help you anymore. Yeah.
C tier, I'd say, for the artillerist.
I'm good with that. Let's go right around Thief. Next up is potentially the fan favorite, the Armorer or the Iron Man subclass.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't think there are any improvements that could be made to this. I don't know if it's S tier, but I do think it's amazing.
No, I'd say that
it has a niche that it fits so well that it's like it was made for like the niche was made for this class.
Yeah, I'd say it's behind Circle of Moon.
I'm good with that. If you want to play Iron Man in D&D, you just pick that subclass and you are done.
But then also play Dwarf so you don't get the alcohol addiction or, the alcohol poisoning that Iron Man regularly gets.
Actually, I really want to play a gnome armorer at some point who wears a full-size suit of armor. So the gnome is just inside the chest piece.
Just a metal...
So, like, he walks up to a thing and is, like, sounding all badass and stuff, and then the back of it opens and this little gnome just climbs out.
One daiquiri, please. No, one daiquiri, please. Refreshing.
Exactly. And then that leaves us with a bad one, I think. The Alchemist.
This is another F tier. They tried so hard to make it cool. It really doesn't work.
Yeah, nothing goes behind Arcane Archer, but yeah.
Yeah. Because they try to make it cool, but they hold... one of the key things you have to do is according to the rules, you have to roll a die for your elixir.
Yeah.
You can't just decide.
It's like playing a, the fucking...
Wild Magic Sorcerer.
Thank you. I had to look at the list. It's like playing a Wild Magic Sorcerer, except with that, you do the spell you want and roll for a possibly negative effect. This one is, you just roll for some chaos and deal with the consequences.
Right, and all of them are, none of them are bad. They're just, if you want a healing potion, you're not gonna get a healing potion every time. Or, it's just random.
Oh no, my party member's down. I hope I get a healing potion. Oh, this is a potion of swiftness. Yay.
Now you're dying faster for the next hour.
It's... there was so much potential on what that could have been, and it just didn't pan out that way. All right. We have a much shorter list now. We're down to the final 7.
Oh, good.
All right. Paladin.
Okay. I like Paladin. However, I feel like if they're going to make it be another really tanky class with more armor, they should have given him a D12.
Well, I think the sort of tank that they do, the fighter can be in heavy armor, but depending on your playstyle, could also sit just as happy in medium or light armor. The Paladin is the guy in the full suit of heavy plate with the massive shield and is like this walking statue.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine they have a D10. We're starting with the Oathbreaker, though. The kind of DM's only supposed to be an evil character Paladin.
It's fine if you're trying to play an evil campaign. Otherwise, it's not good. Honestly, D tier. Easily D tier.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
It gets some cool spells, but if you're not playing villains, you're not going to have any use to use any of these things.
Next is the... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Like for example, like Boston Jones, I thought of playing Oathbreaker, but I'm like, but we're not playing as villains, and if I have dreadful presence, no one's gonna want to spend time with Boston. And then again, no one really wanted to spend time with Boston in the campaign anyway.
So we've got Oath of Devotion, which
This is the most vanilla of vanilla paladin.
it is
Very boring.
If you want to play Paladin and you don't know anything else, you play Oath of Devotion and you're playing Paladin.
Put her right next to Champion.
Where the hell did we put Champion?
C tier.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Oath of the Watchers.
This is very much like, this is the Lorax of classes. You get a couple fun spells. You get Moonbeam, which is kind of cool.
See, I was about to bring up all the other ones. It's Oath of the Watchers. So you get Alarm, Detect Magic, See Invisibility, Counterspell, Banishment.
Yeah.
It's the class or the subclass of Not on My Watch.
Yeah, and if you want to live that line, it's fun, but it's not very what's the word I'm looking for?
Interesting?
Not utilitarian, or it's not very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
More fun than Oathbreaker, but yeah, I'd say bottom of B tier is fine.
Yeah. Oath of the Crown. This is
very much.
It's the knight in shining armor.
Mm-hmm. This is the cooler version of Oath of Devotion.
It is. This is the other flavor of I want to play Paladin, but I don't know what. Oath of the Crown. And specifically, this is the backstory of like, oh, well, I was a knight for this king, and I fought in these wars, and I did this and this and this. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oath of, yeah.
Yeah, top of C tier. Oh, you think it's higher?
Oh, no, I was...
Oh.
Yeah. You're good, you're good. Oath of Glory. This one, it plays more similar to a cleric paladin, because you get things like Guiding Bolt and Heroism.
Yeah. This one is very much like if you're doing a war or like scrimmage heavy campaign, this is a good one to do it. Like this is the kind of crusader kind of knight in shining armor. Like this is where you get your Templar sort of feel and vibe, which is cool. But how many campaigns are we doing skirmishes and wars and things like that? You know?
Right.
So I'd say it's also in C tier.
I'm gonna put it above Champion.
Yes.
Maybe.
Because you can play a champion character and a glory domain paladin and play the exact same character.
Oath of the Open Sea.
Critical Role 1, this is if you're doing, you're trying to be seamen, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of water-based or like sea spells. It's very much like you worship the storm, which is kind of fun.
It's also one of those classes that, if for whatever reason, if your campaign isn't in a setting where this stuff is around, you lose all of the interesting stuff.
Yeah, so you have to. This one's great for a seafaring campaign. Like if you want to activate your Inner Pirates of the Caribbean or One Piece, this is a paladin I'd strongly recommend. But if you're not doing those things, it's cooler than Cavalier, I guess.
Absolutely, I agree.
Top of D.
Thank you. Oath of Vengeance.
This is the Batman subclass.
It is, and it's cool for it. You get Bane and Hunter's Mark, Hold Person, Misty Step.
Yes.
You're a relentless avenger.
Yeah. I am vengeance. I miss him.
I am Batman.
Yeah. You also but here's I would say it's I'd say B tier, sure.
Yeah.
It's just very my name is Domingo Montoya, kill my father, prepare to die. Is another if you want to build to not be a swashbuckler, or take Oathbreaker and Swashbuckler Rogue.
Yes.
That's how you build a Bendigo.
Indigo.
Yeah,
words. Oath of Conquest.
Not a fan.
Yeah?
It's the Crusader, except you're on the I'm committing a genocide.
Okay, so the St. Patrick Paladin.
No, it's Saint Nicholas. Come on, it's
Um,
Santa Claus.
Yeah,
It's
it goes right here with the Oathbreaker. It is
yeah,
kind of just an evil paladin.
yeah. It goes well with Monster Slayer.
Yeah. Next is Oath of the Ancients, which is kind of a druid paladin mix.
Yes.
You're very naturey. You're in tune with plants and animals. You get some cool spells for along those lines. I think flavor-wise, that alone makes this a really interesting paladin.
Should go up next to Moon, I think, or next to Stars, or Shepherd, Brain. Blah. Be your A tier for me.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm good with that. I'm gonna put it right in the middle of Stars and Shepherd.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hope we get a redeeming subclass for this paladin, because nothing is above B tier. Now let's go with the Oath of Redemption.
It's the best paladin subclass in my opinion. Flavor-wise, you can say you were any one of the other subclasses, and now you're trying to make amends for the kind of person you once were.
Yeah, which not to say that any of them have to be inherently bad, but it plays so well for this one to have been any of the others and a dick.
Yeah. And like, not only that, but you get counterspell, you get calm emotion, told person, but using like Embassy of Peace, you get plus 5 your charisma for the next 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I never did that as Boston. I 100% could have, but he's not that kind of character. Or like Rebuke Violence is awesome.
I think this is an easy A tier. It is the best paladin.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Well then, let us then select our next class. Looks like we are now going to mess around with the Wizard.
Oh lord, this is gonna go south really fast.
Why? There's so few Wizard subclasses. I don't even think we're going to have enough to talk about.
I feel like
here.
they're a little biased. I feel like Wizards of the Coast might be a little biased.
There's only War,
15,
Transmutation, Graviturgy, Necromancy, Blade Singing, Illusion, Enchantment, Abjuration, Conjuration, Evocation, Scribes, Chronometry, and Divination.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
It's at least
14. What?
So it's at least 4
of these.
First up is War Magic.
They want it to be cool. You want to play a war fighter caster.
You assess tactical situations and allows you to act quickly in battle. You give yourself a bonus to your initiative equal to your intelligence. Alright, but that's all you get until 6th level.
Right. That's kind of like the swashbuckler thing.
Yeah.
And also, like, once per turn you deal extra damage, half your wizard level. Okay, so it has things like the swashbuckler or like the College of Swords Bard, but you're a wizard, so you have a D6 HP, so you really can't be getting too close and getting too personal.
War Magic, I think low C, high D.
It's better than the Psionic Warrior. I think I'd be more curious to see that than. It's at the bottom of C tier, but past the Psi Warrior, 2 to the left.
1, 2. I think I'm good with that. Next up is Transmutation.
I have a special place in my heart for Caleb Widowgast and Full Metal Alchemist.
And honestly, it's a cool subclass. You specialize on changing one thing into another, which for D&D, that's super powerful. I think it's easily in B.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely cooler than the Lycanthrope subclass.
For sure. And funny enough, it can do the same thing as the Lycanthrope.
Yeah, without having to accidentally munch on your teammates.
I'm going to put this up here with the Eldritch Knight and the Drake Warden. I think it is a fun, interesting one. It does cool stuff. It's good. Next up is Graviturgy. This is another critical role one.
I love the idea of gravity magic. However, in a game like D&D, it either becomes immediately busted or it does not do anything at all. And I do feel like up until you get to like level 10,
it's much more of the latter.
Yeah. Honestly, I think we got another F tier.
I'm good with that. I'm gonna put it above Alchemist though, because at least every time you cast a spell, you know what the effects are gonna be.
Yeah, and not saying that it's bad, but most campaigns, like we said, don't get past level 10.
Yeah.
And if most of the stuff you're waiting for is 10th level, that's a problem.
Your character needs to be fun at the low levels and then get better. Not
Yeah.
all right at the low levels and then get good.
Yes, 100%. Which is one of the reasons why I have a hard time like categorizing wizards specifically, because the D6. They just
Fair.
typically most wizards don't live till sea level 10.
Speaking of having to reach a certain level, the next one is only good after 5th level, but after that, it is the best wizard subclass, I think, the Necromancer.
My only argument to better than Necromancer is the Evocation Wizard. But I 100% agree with you.
I see where you're coming from, but yeah, Necromancer is the only... It is the only class in all of D&D where rules is written, you can make yourself an army as big as you want. Your D&D party could... Oh yeah, your D&D party after 14th level could legitimately just retire as heroes and like send the bard out to go collect contracts, and then the wizard sends out a horde of zombies to go kill the thing and then come back and cash in the contract.
Yeah. On paper, it is by far one of the most broken subclasses. I still think Druid beats it in that regard with the Wildfire for several reasons, but yeah. As written, best wizard subclass.
Absolutely. That then takes us to the Blade Song wizard, which is cool. I will never argue against that, but...
It's like the Valor Bard or like the College of Swords. Mm-hmm. Give it a higher HP die if you're going to make it do something that it's not meant to be.
Yeah, I'm a wizard. You do get a bonus to your AC, which is great, considering you don't get to wear armor.
Yeah. And your walking speed increases by 10 feet. Cool. Okay, so now you're moving along on Strider with fighters and, bards, but you have to wait till level 6 to get that extra attack.
Mm-hmm. So you hit less well, you hit less often, you get hit more often, and you have fewer hit points. But don't worry, you're a magic user, but you're a wizard, so you can't heal yourself.
If you're going to be doing a Hogwarts-style-like adventure, if you want to be the tough kid that focuses on combat spells, this would be the class to pick.
Yeah.
But similar with the Cavalier and Open Sea, I feel like it's in D tier. It has good potential, it's just limited by certain things. It's better than Beastmaster and Oathbreaker.
I personally want to put it lower, but I'm good with that. I think it is... The issue is it takes some of the key points of a bunch of classes, but nothing important to make it good.
Right.
It's also one of the only subclasses in the entire game, or possibly the only one. No, there's two, that has a race restriction.
Yeah, there's that Barbarian subclass, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Barbarian and this. Which we'll get to that Barbarian one eventually.
So you're right. No, you have to be an elf to play a Blade Sing. F tier, bottom of F tier, worse than Arcane Trickster. No racism allowed in my D&D unless it's plot related. You can't just put that in for a... No.
Next is College of Illusion.
It's fine. It's cool. The arcade, the cleric class does it better. The arcade, like the trickster. I'd say it's in C tier. It's... Yeah, I'd put it at the bottom of C tier. Good
enough. And now here's the better version of that. The School of Enchantment.
Yeah, this... I wish with School of Enchantment you could actually like focus specifically on making weapons or like making magical items, because it's enchantment. That would make sense.
So that is outside of D&D the logical thing, but within D&D, enchantment has to do with enchanting the mind.
That's what illusions are.
No, illusions are about tricking the mind. You see something that's not there. Enchantment is about controlling the mind. One is external, one is internal.
Put it one in front of illusion. They're gonna be betting. I get to be it right back. I don't care.
Abjuration.
It's cool. I created characters and things like that should focus on like shielding magic. Mm-hmm. But again, it should be one of those ones if you're building a tankier character that focuses on wards and things like that.
Yeah.
Make them have a higher HP.
Who's
die.
that character that is teamed up with Rappa versus Fat Gum and Kirishima? Because this is that guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's. I forget his name, but yeah.
Either way,
like
it's not very good. It's not bad. It's gonna sit right up here with
I'd
the
say-
Enchantment Illusion, I think.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's look at some things. So I've always wanted to play this class, but I don't want to play a wizard with the DA6 hit die.
Abjuration. Arcane Ward, you can weave magic around yourself. When you cast an Abjuration spell, you simultaneously use the strand of its magic as a ward on yourself. It has a hit point maximum. When it hits 0 points, it can no longer absorb damage. So it's just like a barrier.
Yeah.
And then at 6th level,
very
you can
fast.
project a barrier around other people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it's just that guy.
But again, the most you can have let's see, at level, there are spells that do this better.
Well, and
I wish it was better.
because you only get access to that when you cast an Abjuration spell, and you're a wizard who has access to very few Abjuration spells, it's an incredibly restrictive class, which is why I don't think
Honestly,
you can go any higher
put her
than
in
low
D
C.
tier. I wish it was better. It's in D tier.
That's fine. Conjuration. Yet another version of the Beast Ranger that is better.
Yes.
I want little friends. I will summon the little friends.
Yes. Yeah, the bottom of B tier, I think.
Yeah.
I would say it's
Evocation.
actually better than the two paladins at the bottom.
Evocation is another super easy S tier. It's a perfect wizard.
Yes. Actually, scroll up. I think Evocation Wizards are probably better than Gloomstalkers. Like, if you're gonna have a party dynamic, having one of those, okay, you want to have a lot of combat. That's pretty good.
That's fair. Another really good one, it's got to be at least A, is the Order of Scribes.
Yes, that's the one where people start doing tattoo magic and things like.
Tattoo magic, you also get to change your spells.
Yeah,
which,
that's easily...
since a whole thing with like rules is written, wizards canonically invent a lot of the spells they collect. The 2 free spells you get every level are spells that your character created. Mm-hmm. So being able to alter your spells is so good.
That's, honestly, I would say that's above Glamour Bard, because it's doing Glamour Bard, but better.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. Next to last is Chronergy.
Again, time magic, one of those things that'd be really cool, but also can be very broken in D&D because of the limitation of the 9th level spell that, like, you get 1d4 rounds of combat to stop magic. Like, to stop time. The potential's cool. It doesn't really work. It's just the Divination Wizard done a little bit differently. It's another F tier.
Speaking of Divination Wizard, the Divination Wizard.
Honestly cracked.
Yeah, it's... I don't like it as a DM, because I feel like it gives players too much power. But it's great, and I think it's top of A, if nothing else.
Yeah, no.
All right. Next up.
Actually, can I pause? We have a really good spread, actually.
We really do. We were focusing a lot in this area, A, B, and C, at the start, but it's really spreading out. A, B, and C are still the only ones with multiple rows. But yes. Okay. I accidentally did not remove Wizard on the last roll, and somehow spun Wizard again.
Oh. Divination, no.
All right, next up is the Monk.
I feel sad for monks.
Yeah?
As a class as a whole. You remember 3.5e when they're rolling like 4d10 at level 20?
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to be able to do that kind of damage because at later level, they're not, like, the movement speed goes up ridiculously. At level 20, they're moving 60 feet around.
Mm-hmm.
Or technically, on average, 60 feet, which is nonsense. But you're not playing a monk to be fast, you're playing a monk to punch things in the gob.
First up, we've got, speaking of, Way of the Open Hand.
It's your champion class.
Yeah, this is the default monk.
It's your glory or devotion. It goes right in the middle of C tier next to champion and...
Yeah. right here. Way of the
That's
Long
fine.
Death.
It's a good.
This is a cool
very
one.
anime.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's very much like it's the Necromancer of you do
but the flip side of that, it's focused on killing.
Yes, it's kind of like Way of Shadow, except more edgy.
Yeah.
Very gothic. Very. So I'd put it in bottom of B tier. I'd say.
I think it's a very cool flavor. Mm-hmm. You can do some neat stuff with it. I think it's good. Way of the Kensei. I want to be a monk, but I want weapons.
Yeah, this is you watched a couple kung fu movies, but the guys are using weapons.
I think it goes right next to Open Hand because it's just default monk plus weapon.
Yeah.
Way of the Cobalt Soul. That's another
this
critical
one is
role
very
one.
much detective, like you're trying to like interrogation-y things. So if you're doing a campaign where those things are required, it's fun, but it's very situational.
Agreed.
Like with our Abjuration, Open Seas, Cavalier, like it's...
Yeah, it sits in this realm of could be really good in the right situation,
I'd put it right
but
there,
in most situations is just kind of meh. Next up is one of my favorite monks, Way of Mercy.
It's the healing monk.
It is. I love playing healers that are not clerics. I hate playing clerics. I don't do it. Mm-hmm. But I do love to play a healer, and this is one of my go-tos.
I would say it's easy A tier.
I'm going to slap you back to health.
All right. They're going to say back to health. I'm like, that's a little aggressive.
Another one of my favorites is the Shadow Monk.
It's cool. But it kind of runs into the rogue, like, Edgy McEdgerson sort of vibes, or like...
It also has a major flaw in it. Which is that you can cast darkness, but you don't have any special ability to see through that darkness.
Yeah. It
kind
of gets that hiccup
blind yourself in the party.
Up, losers.
Hey, you!
I'd say easy C tier, next to Thief, I think. It's very situational, like the Thief class.
That's totally fair. Let me just, now Blood is represented on call with us. Yeah, easy C tier next to what?
Next to Thief.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Way of the Astral Self, the Hologram Monk.
I feel like what they're trying to do with this one is, remember when Aang is talking to the guru? And he's trying to connect with his spiritual self?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what they're trying to do with this one.
Yeah.
On paper, it's very cool. It's also one that encourages you to actually make a strength-based monk. Which I feel like should be something you can just do anyway, but...
I think it's an easy low B.
Yeah, it's one of those ones also that become really cool at the end, but it doesn't, like...
Yeah, you gotta get there.
Yeah.
It also has this weird thing of, like, as you gain the powers in it, you get a glowing head, and then you get glowing arms, and then you get a glowing body. So for a while, I'm just a guy with a glowing head.
Which is interesting because if you know anything about chakras or that phase of enlightenment, the 6th and 7th chakra are the hardest ones to actually solve. So honestly, I think it's top of D tier. It's meant to be cool, it just isn't.
That's fair. Way of the Ascendant Dragon, which is, I think, the perfect monk. That's got to be S tier. Every single punch you make, you get to choose the element of damage it does.
That's very... All the ones that we're putting into S tier are just the busted ones.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
But,
I also
yeah,
really
that
like
does
Way
seem
of
to
the
be the
Drunken
word
Monk.
playing. Yeah.
Way of Drunken Monk, easily A tier. Easily A tier.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. It's very much the I'm a group fighter.
Yeah. So the Ascendant Dragon is also the better version of what the Sun Soul could have been. The Sun Soul is the very, like, Dragon Ball, like, solar monk thing. And it was really cool until the Ascendant Dragon Monk happened, and then you could do that, but better.
You literally summon in your inner dragon, and, like, you go... This is Dragon Warrior mode proper.
Yeah. So I'm going to put Sun Soul at B tier. It would have been A, but Ascendant Dragon happened.
Honestly, though,
Yeah,
I think it's if you're trying to do the Dragon Ball Z thing, it goes into like you're trying to be your typical cliche monk sort of thing. That's C tier.
that's fair. And then Way of the Four Elements, which
F
also
tier.
is done better by the Ascendant Dragon.
It is hot garbage.
They made one class with the Ascendant Dragon that is a better version of other, like multiple other monk classes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of that list. We are now moving on to.
I have not played Dragon D&D 2024. I hope with the monk they get to do more damage than just what they're given in previous, because they do not do enough damage if you're going to be playing without weapons.
Yeah. All right. Sorcerers.
I have another hot take on this one. I feel like sorcerers, their spellcasting modifier should be their constitution, not their
I
charisma.
agree with that.
And they should easily be a D8 or a D10 subclass if they're going to be doing something like that. The reason why I say D10, have it be they take that number of for every spell cast, have them take 1d4 and have it level up, kind of like Blunt Hunter, damage they take versus the spell, depending on their origin.
That could be interesting. I'd want to toy with that.
Yeah.
But Draconic Bloodline.
It could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into the, you get to pick a thing and certain events happen. It feels very much like the Champion Fighter Way of the Open Hand style, like monk.
Yeah, it does.
I just lost the cap of my can into my drink, and I'm still drinking. There's still some in there.
That's
the
fine. You're
problem.
good. Storm Sorcerer.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very much the Thunderbringer / like Storm. Like if you're playing Storm from the X-Men, this is the class you want to be. Easy A tier for me.
I'm good with that, and I agree. We've got another one that I've never heard of, so we're gonna skip it. Aberrant Mind. That's gonna be the Mind Flayer sorcerer.
Yeah. One of the characters in the campaign is playing this sorcerer. It's very interesting.
Yeah. You get access to a lot of Warlock spells with it, just because the Warlock spells are all the Eldritch spells.
Yeah.
It is such an interesting class. I don't think it can go below B.
Well, here's the only
I don't know if
issue.
it's better than that, though.
You get a lot of really cool things after level 14.
Yeah.
So it has the psychic stuff, yes, and it has telepathic speech, which is cool, but you don't, like, after level 6, you don't get anything to level 14, which is, you can see invisibility, you have a flying speed, you swimming speed, like, a lot of really cool things, but you have to wait till level 14 to get most of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
I think it sits at B then.
yeah, bottom of B.
All right, the Divine Soul Sorcerer. This is another one of those, I want to be a healer, but I don't want to be a cleric.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool for it.
Very, very, yeah. Empowered healing, it can, like, you get wings level 14 as well.
Which the Draconic one also gets.
Yeah.
At the exact same level.
Yeah,
I think,
so,
where did I put Way of Mercy? I'm going to put this right next to Way of Mercy up in A.
yeah, put it in front of Way of Mercy, because you get more spells, and which means more, things you can do.
That's fair. Clockwork Soul. You're
You
aligned
played
with the planes of law. And this is another one that kind of like fucks with the DM. Because you can remove advantage and disadvantage from any roll that you see.
Should we put it next to Divination Wizard, then?
Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Where did we put you? Right here. Shadow Sorcerer.
A.G. McEdgerton goes to Edgertonville to get an Edgerton Espresso from Edgerton Starbucks.
But they get something that the Shadow Monk doesn't get. If you use your Sorcerer's Points to cast Darkness, you can see through it.
That is true. That makes it just immediately better than the Shadow Monk.
Yeah. Okay, where did we put
Um,
Shadow Monk? It is right here, which is
It's
in
better
C.
than that, though, because it gets I completely forgot about this. It gets a Hound of an Ill Omen, so you can summon a Dire Wolf at level 6.
That's true. Let's
That's
go.
dope. That's better than Beastmaster. So yeah, that's easy B tier. Honestly, put it between Phantom and Swashbuckler, I think.
Good enough.
Shadow Sorcerer is best sorcerer.
Not according to our list. Wild Magic.
Fuck you.
I liked Wild
You can
Magic
see the list.
because-
It's here in the call.
Yeah.
I see it, but I'm also stuck on my phone and not able to get down to my computer.
I see.
Wild
when
Magic. I'm gonna break the scale as we've already currently done it, because we had been doing all the most powerful classes in S tier. I think the Wild Magic one goes to S tier just for the chaos it can bring to a game.
Yes. The only time I've ever seen a Wild Magic Sorcerer in a campaign is when I was playing Bull, and I have not had that much fun playing someone like Bull in a long time. But I also did the thing of I don't even get a chance to even roll what my spell does if I fail my check.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're going to be playing a character like that, play it that way, because I'm wild, but you only here's the other thing with Wild Magic. If you roll a 1 when you're trying to cast it, so you only have a 1 in 20% chance. That's not a lot when you're trying to cast spells. It's very limiting, in my opinion, in that regard. And also, the regular chart, it's fine, but not nearly as fun or as chaotic as I want it to be.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we're down to the final 3: Barbarian, Cleric, and Warlock. Who do we got? We are going to be messing around with my favorite class. Let's go to the Warlocks.
Oh boy, here we go.
The very
I
first
have a
one
mixed-
is the Genie.
The Genie is very broken. The Genie subclass is by far one of the most broken of the Warlock subclasses because it gives you a pocket plane to hop into to recharge
Yes.
at level 3.
At level 1.
At level 1, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That easily makes it S tier for broken. However, so I study a lot of mythology. You don't mess with Jinn. It's just one of those rules of any mythology. You don't. They're terrifying.
What
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of like the entire thing with warlocks. Is like half of them are the things you don't want to fucking mess with.
Also, there is an ability that it has called Genie's Wrath. So it
Yes.
addresses that. So yeah, it's easy S tier, especially at first level. It's going straight to the top of the list.
Yeah.
All right,
Not
next up.
because it's the most fun to play. It's just a broken class. Like this, we're discussing like this is not like our favorite classes by any means. These are the most broken classes in our opinion.
Yeah.
That's what this list is trying to be anyway.
Fathomless.
Fathomless.
Yeah, so you get to summon magical tentacles to like come and fight things, and you get a swim speed and underwater breathing. So this is
Your Cthulhu.
in some ways, because the Great Old One is also very Cthulhian. But yeah, this is very like I've made a deal with a great eldritch underwater horror, and now I get to
I lived
summon
on
that power
town
to
near
me.
a lighthouse, and I was drawn to the lighthouse one night, and I found this creature waiting for me.
I also think like both flavor wise and for the power that it brings, this is a really good class. I think it's B or A.
But it's one of the situational ones if you're doing ones near an ocean or sea campaign. It's one of those Voyager ones.
So for the gift of the sea, the swimming speed and water breathing, yes. Everything else still plays though. So it's one of those ones where it's good anywhere, it's great in water.
I'm reading through it.
Wow.
You get resistance to cold damage.
You can talk to fish.
Yeah. You know, you're right though.
Aquaman.
I am seeing more water related. I'm going to put it in C. It's better than the other situational ones that we have because it's still
Yes,
good everywhere.
for sure.
It's just amazing in water.
I'd say it's next to Glory. I'd say.
That's fair. Yeah.
Paladin of Glory, because it's still really good. But
Hexblade.
it could have been
Goodbye.
cooler. It.
Mhm.
I feel like you get a couple of things, but again, it's that D8 situation, so you're really squishy. It's trying to be the barbarian or the pilot or the fighter, but you're just too squishy.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's also several of the things that you need to make the Hexblade work really well are invocations that you have to choose to take that should have just come with it.
Yeah, give it an add-on. Like, make it just like, you get this. It's with the rest of the ones that are situational, if not just F tier.
Yeah, it's going to be in the situational ones. Let's put it right between Cavalier and Open Sea.
Yeah.
Archfey.
It's fun. You got a lot of like teleportation and mind like illusions and like being goofy. It's a good prankster class.
Yeah.
If I was to play a warlock, I'd probably do Archfey or Celestial just to play like a non-healer healer.
It's fun
I
to
would
hop
say-
all around the field.
Yeah,
really
it's
is.
an easy C or B tier for me, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm going to put it right behind Aberrant Mind, end of B tier.
Yeah.
Our next two are often conflated because we've got the Pact of the Undead and Pact of the Undying.
Yes. So, the Undying is your liches versus your undead is more ghosts
Or vampires.
or vampires.
So either way, you've made a pact with a powerful necromantic creature.
Yes. Interesting. The Undying, you do get Spare the Dying at first level, which is kind of nice.
Yep.
And Undead specifically can't really hurt you. Or, like, they have to make checks, and you become immune to things, which is cool. And at level 6, you regain 1d8 plus your con modifier, teach death saving throw. So you just
That
immediately
is
pop up
so
going,
good.
Ah! That's really cool. That's an easy, just with that alone. That is level 6, so it's before our level 10 thing that we've been kind of going over. That's an easy upper B tier
Undying
for
is
me.
really good. Yeah. Upper B, I'm going to put it up there with the Oath of Ancients Paladin.
Can we drop Valor down? I feel like Valor shouldn't be where we are putting these other things. I think Valor's top of C tier, maybe.
I'm good with that.
That's fair.
Because I love Valor Bards. I've played Valor Bards, but with everything else that's next to it, it feels like it's outclassed.
And to be fair, we do have 5 bards in S and A. We can move a C tier bar, or B tier bar down.
Yeah, and then the Undead specifically, let's see what Undead gets. You gain temporary hit points. It feels very situational as well.
Yeah.
This feels very much like the Warlock of Warlocks. Like, you pick this one to, like, I made a deal with a ghost or a vampire, so let's put it with the rest. Similar with, and I hate to say this as well, the Fiend.
That's fair. And we've been putting these in, like, the middle of C, and I think it fits for both of these.
The Fiend, though, it does get some pretty cooler things.
It does, but it's not
It
significantly better. Yeah, The Fiend is really cool if you want to play like a tiefling, and you're like, all of my power comes from my infernal parent
or mom.
Yeah, so like you get some cool story stuff if you want to take that route.
I'd say Fiend is better than Sun Soul Monk, and I'm just saying that because it's my wife's favorite. I believe it's one of her favorite subclasses, or it was before the genie was around. So I'm trying to.
That's fine.
Love you, wife.
Celestial Warlock. I'm gonna put that
easy A tier.
Yeah, it's right up here with our Divine Soul and Mercy Monk, where it is, I want to play a healer that is not just a healer. And it's fucking dope for it. Also, I think the Celestial Warlock is one of the most powerful healers in 5th edition.
Because, where is it? As a bonus action, you can heal one creature within 60 feet of you spending from the dice pool. And, like, you get a pool of D6s.
Yeah, so it's essentially what Cure Wounds used to be, except Cure Wounds is a touch spell, and this is 60 feet.
Yeah.
And this is a bonus action.
Yeah, this fused with the Divine Soul Sorcerer, you could make one of the most busted healers of the entire game.
Well, and because that healing...
like in B tier, you absolute menaces.
Because there are better things that do the same thing. But the fact that
it's how it's written. We're doing how it's written, how broken it is.
Okay.
The fact that you can do this healing as a bonus action and you're a warlock means that you can Eldritch Blast those 3 guys and then heal your party member and res them.
Yeah.
All right. That leaves us with the last one, and potentially the like creepiest one. This is the Pact with Cthulhu, the Great Old One.
Yes, this is when you hang out with your Eldritch buddies.
Yeah, you get
honestly,
telepathic linking with your party.
Yeah, it feels
that's about it.
like, yeah, it's supposed to be really cool. Honestly, it falls flat compared to like the Fathomist or like the what's the other one where you're actually making a deal with the Illithids?
The Aberrant Mind.
Yeah, it's honestly, I hate to say it, I think it's an F tier. It just gets outplayed by future ones.
I put it down with our Battlemaster and Conquest in D tier.
You just don't want any of your favorite classes to be put into F tier.
You're fine. Put it down here with the Profane Soul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because it is just a psionic warlock that doesn't give you any sort of psionic offense.
I wish it did more, though. Like, play into the Lovecraftian, it just doesn't.
Absolutely. Alright. 50-50, Barbarian and Cleric. I was hoping for Cleric, because I don't want to have to end on Cleric, because I don't like them. But instead, we are going to, because we're doing the Barbarian.
Okay. Barbarian.
Right. First up is the other racist subclass, the Berserker.
Because it's racist, we have to put an F tier. That's what we said.
Wait, no, sorry. The Battle Rager is the Berserker is. Here's the thing.
Berserker is your vanilla. This is, we put it with our vanillas. Put it with our boys.
So I would accept that. It's 10th level thing. The thing you get for getting through a long campaign, you're starting to do really cool stuff, is you can spend your entire action to kind of scare one person.
Kind of scare.
A little bit, yeah. You know what?
So
fair.
for me, that
bottom
takes
of
it
C
down
tier.
to. I'll do bottom of C. But yeah, you've got this really powerful, really awesome barbarian who hits harder and faster than anyone else in the party, and this turn he's not going to hit anyone because he's going to scare that one guy.
We should put thief with our stereotypicals.
I mean, it's already pretty close to those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Next up is the Battle Ranger. We've already said that the racist classes go down here. Where did there?
Well,
but it does have a D12 hit die, so it is better than the wizards, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, the Battle Ranger barbarian is the only barbarian that wears armor. Specifically, you wear heavy armor covered in spikes, and you have to be a dwarf, and then you throw yourself at your combatants and you grapple them to deal damage.
Did we just casually say that we believe dwarves are better than elves?
I mean, it's true.
How dare?
I mean, yeah.
Path of the Ancestral Guardian.
Path of the what?
Ancestral Guardian.
This one is interesting for a lore and storytelling perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I had a player who ran this, and it was really, really cool. It also is one that can be kind of more paladin, like with their auras, where it can help benefit people.
I love the idea of this is a barbarian who is not all that like super hardy and powerful on their own. They're just so imbued with the faith and love of their ancestors that they just can't be killed.
It feels very much attaching towards like the Chinese traditions of the importance of the ancestors.
Them so much.
Yes.
Next
Grandmama loved them.
Is our very own Nashville Finnegan Thompson, the Beast Barbarian.
Very fun. I will say, this is better than Lycanthrope, just by definition.
It's the better version of Lycan.
How dare you?
Because you get the more HP than the Lycanthrope, you don't take any damage from it, and you
don't take damage from shifting as Lycan.
But you take damage from other class features.
Right.
Yeah, true.
And your bite, your claws, everything does at least a D6.
So after that is Path of the Zealot. This is the unkillable one.
Yes, this one, if you have this in your party, easy S tier.
Yeah. Storm Herald. This one had the potential
is-
to be so cool. Like the
You
name,
have
the
to pick the
Storm
right one,
Herald.
though.
It
You
sounds
have to pick the
cool.
right one.
But yeah,
It
it just
sounds very cool.
most of them
but-
suck.
Best one you have to pick is the Seed. The other two are just not worth it.
Yeah.
I easy B tier for me. If
Although I
not
will
A,
say
bottom
the
of A
Desert
tier.
Storm aura is
Mhm.
what you pick if you want to play as the Red Hulk.
Yes, 100%. You do get some extra ones at level 6 as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, you want to pick just C because you get resistance to lightning damage and you could breathe underwater.
And a swim speed, which a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize, but swim speed is more powerful than just I can move quickly underwater. If you don't have a swim speed, you have disadvantage on every roll you make while you're underwater. So having a swim speed automatically makes everything you do better.
That's easily A tier. If it's
Yeah.
not in there, let's put it there.
I'm good for that. Storm Herald up to A. Right next to our
I
Storm
have,
Sorcerer.
I have a bitter spot in my heart for Storm Herald,
Yeah?
unfortunately, because of a previous player I played with.
Fair.
Mm,
Our next one is the
Wild
Wild
Magic.
Magic. Yes. This, I love the flavor of this one, but I've never played with one, and I don't know how useful they would actually end up being. It's the negative aspects of the Alchemist Artificer with the
Yeah.
fun of the Wild Magic Sorcerer.
right. So I feel like we should put it right in front of the potion crafter, the alchemist.
Fair.
Except here's the thing, like I'm trying to look. I'm looking at it. Also, the writing for this is awful. Roll a d3 whenever making an attack roll ability check.
Yeah.
That's at
A
level 6.
D3.
It's a d3. Yeah, that's F tier. I can't like what?
And then next up is the other S tier. It's the Totem Warrior Barbarian.
That's honestly above the monk one for sure. They are more broken than any of the monk classes in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
You can't
Well, and
kill a totem.
If you do the white-haired psionic species,
Kalistar.
yeah, if you play a Kalistar, you get resistance to psychic damage. If you then do Totem Barbarian, you get to have resistance to all the damage in the game. You get more resistances than any creature in the game.
Does that include force?
Ta-da.
That includes force.
Okay.
Yeah, the only
Yeah,
one that
so-
the Totem Barbarian through Bear Totem doesn't get is Psionic, and you do get that through Kalistar.
Right.
Which, if
That's
you have
what
resistance to
Banana
all
was.
damage, you essentially just get to
terrifying.
double your hit points.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Now we're
spin
on
the
to
wheel.
the one that you don't like.
According to the
Or red.
wheel, we're talking about. I gotta wait for it to stop.
There's actually
it's the
some barbarian
cleric.
classes that are on their website that aren't on this list. Like a few.
Yeah, but there's also a few things on this list that aren't in official D&D stuff, so that's fine.
That's true.
The other Wizards of the Coast favorite class is the Cleric, and we're starting with Death Domain.
It's right next to Paladin of Oathbreaker.
Yeah?
I tried to play a Death Domain cleric for like as a good guy. Can't. Not really.
That's fair. They're cool, though, and I love them. I love
They're really
necromancers.
cool. Like if you want to play like an Undertaker or like a god, like really really cool, but they're not practical.
That's fair. Next up is our Nature Cleric, which is our kind of Druid Cleric hybrid.
Easily A tier for how busted it gets.
Yeah. I'm going to put it right next to our Druid in A tier.
Yeah.
Then is the War Cleric, which
That
I
we
would-
just hit things.
I would love to give the War Cleric a high rating, except that you can only do extra attacks, one, as a bonus action, and two, a limited number of times per long rest.
Yeah. Also, it's at 6th level. And that's what's hinders us in the past. It's very middle of C or D tier for me, honestly.
Yeah, it's end of C. Because if you want to be a heavy armor cleric, you can do the armor, the life,
Forge.
forge. Like, there's other clerics that give you heavy armor. This is the one that's supposed to focus on I also deal damage, and it doesn't. Then we've got the Tempest Cleric.
I, for the longest time, thought Tempest Domain Clerics got Lightning Bolt. They get Call Lightning instead.
Which is so much better. They also get to Thunderously Rebuke attackers, which is a Cleric's Hellish Rebuke, and it's unique to this subclass.
Easy A tier.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to put it right up here with the Swords Bard.
Sure.
Grave Cleric, which I think is...
Caduceus.
It's the Death Cleric, but better.
This is easy S tier. They can cancel crits.
Yeah. I'm going to put it right here with the... Honestly, with the Zealot is where it lives.
Yeah.
Brave Cleric is really, really fun to play.
It's very, very fun to play. And, I mean, it's Caduceus. Like, that's how people recognize the Grave Domain Cleric. It's just fun.
The Order Domain Cleric.
This is very much similar to the Knight, the Paladin of Glory, or it's your cleric first time you want to do something, you put him next to the glory.
Yeah.
Same with Life Domain is broken, but it's in a similar vein. Like, this is the clericiest cleric, you want a cleric, but it has some of the most broken abilities.
Yeah.
Playing a Life Cleric, it's up there with some of the most healing and things you can do. Like,
I'm gonna break our pattern on that one and put it to B tier, but it's the end of B tier because it's still I'm playing a cleric who clerics, but it is a really good one.
It's max healing thing. If you heal dice, if you try to cast a healing spell, it just does the max. You don't even have to roll for it.
Yeah.
Which
Trickery
is
Cleric. Blessing of the Trickster, kind of lame. But second level, Invoke Duplicity, kind of dope.
I got a soft spot in my heart for Jester. She played this class, and it gets a lot of spells like Polymorph and other things. For spell versatility alone, top of B or low A.
I'm good with that. We've got the Arcana Domain. This is our Wizard Cleric.
Same with the Knowledge Domain. Let's look through which one and see which one's better. Let's just do a quick little look-see.
So we get Magic Missile, Magic Weapon, Dispel Magic, Arcane Eye, Lehman's Secret Chest as spells. We also get
Identify. The Knowledge
Arcana
Domain gets
skill.
Identify, Suggestion, Non-Detection, Magic Eye, Legendary Lore at 9th level.
Honestly, I think these two should be paired. They should be locked together and go together in high B or low A.
High B, huh? Or high... reasoning.
I think they're both great. I think they're two sides of the same coin. Personally, if I were writing these two subclasses, I'd have made them one subclass.
I would say that, but they're not as fun as Trickery. Let's put them into B.
All right.
Because getting the Polymorph spell specifically, that is such a game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
With a party.
Twilight, which does one of the
S-tier.
coolest things, which is gives the entire party dark vision that can see through magical darkness.
It's easy S tier because, if memory serves, you can fly when you're in darkness.
Cool. Yeah. Easy S tier, right there.
Easy S tier.
Also, I'd like to point out, we are being quite favorable. We have more S tiers than F tiers.
Yeah. We're gonna reshuffle them here when we're done, though, I think.
We'll look at them.
Yes.
We've got Forge Cleric, which is another... if I was going to play a cleric, it would probably be this.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
This one is the one where you design weapons and things like what they should do with the Enchanter Wizard.
This is... At first level, I get to make my party's weapons and armor better.
Yeah.
So it's Artificer but Cleric.
The
Yes,
armor
easy A
Artificer could benefit from the abilities that this has. So I'm going to put it right next to the armor, but above it.
Mm-hmm.
The Peace Domain Cleric.
Very cool on paper. It's very much the negotiator style of character if you want to try to run a more peaceful, campaign. you basically give with your domain by using your channel divinity. You can basically give everyone guidance for the next 10 minutes.
I see the utility of this one. It feels so boring to me. This feels like all the parts of cleric that I don't like.
Again, it's very situational. I think it goes in our D tier.
Yeah. It's going to live right here with the abjuration and open the sea. Our last cleric is the light domain.
Our fire cleric. They do get fireball and flaming sphere.
Mm-hmm. I will say
they're
this is
kind
the
of like an
best
evocation
class
wizard.
to put Shadowheart in when you're playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she gets to be
a hotter Gale.
Well, yeah, but she ends up getting to be a cleric who follows the goddess of darkness as a light domain cleric.
I honestly, easy A tier.
I'm good with that. I'm going to pop it in right next to Storm Sorcerer.
Okay.
All right. So that is our list. Let's review it one time and just lock things in. S tier, we've got Genie Warlock, Eloquence Bard, Soul Knife Rogue, Samurai Fighter, Evocation Wizard, Gloomstalker Ranger, Wildfire Druid, Necromancy Wizard, Totem Warrior Barbarian, Twilight Cleric, Ascendant Dragon Monk, Wild Magic Sorcerer, Grave Domain Cleric, and Zealot Barbarian. Actually, I think we have all of the main 13 classes represented.
Yeah, put the Zealot Barbarian, though, top of A tier. I don't think,
fair.
like, Totem Warrior is... No. Zealot at top of A, yeah. Because Totem Warrior is objectively better.
That's fair. Totem Warrior doesn't go down. Zealot comes back if they do. That's the difference. Yeah. Sweet. A tier, we now have Zealot, Drunken Master, Divination, Clockwork Soul, Scribes, Glamour, Horizon Walker, Whispers, Inquisitive Tempest, Sword, Spirit, Scout, Gunslinger, Ghost Slayer, Rune Knight, Hunter, Nature, Moon, Forge, Armor, Redemption, Divine Soul, Celestial, Mercy, Light, Storm Sorcery, Storm Herald, and Trickery.
What do we think?
I'm happy with A.
Yeah, A looks good. I'm trying to think. Like, obviously some of them could be switched around for our personal preferences, but yeah.
B. Arcana, Knowledge, Battlesmith, Stars, Mastermind, Undying, Ancients, Assassin, Drake Warden, Transmutation, Eldritch Knight, Shepherd, Ancestral Guardians, Arcane Trickster, Echo Knight, Shadow Magic, Swashbuckler, Phantom Spores, Beast, Lycan, Watchers, Vengeance, Conjuration, Long Death, Aberrant Mind, Archfey, and Life.
I hate to say it, I don't think Lycan sits in B tier with these guys.
I don't think so either.
I'm gone. Fuck y'all.
Listen, we have it's nowhere. Beast
you're
is
here.
So much superior.
You're free to defend it. Hey, Dr. Meep. You're free to defend Lycan, so if you think it deserves to stay in B or move up, make your argument.
Not just because it's werewolves, but because, like, we're talking about core mechanically. These are what we think are the best.
Make your defense, counselor.
So, as werewolf, you do get the advantages when it comes to your senses, when it comes down to, like, searching and stuff like that. So it's not just an attack thing. You do get extra bits on top of it, on top of the fact that the blood curses and stuff like that you get with it, like the eyeless, the puppet, and stuff like that, can help you actually nail down enemies on the field, making sure that they can't get the fuck away from you.
I will also add that you do get damage resistance to non-magical, non-silvered weapons.
You do.
Alright, I think it deserves to stay in B then.
Can we put it at the bottom of B? Cause...
How dare you?
I don't think it needs to move. I think it's fine, because it's towards the end of B anyway. It's lower middle B, and I think that's fine.
Also, I have a hot take that I do with my warlocks in my games. If you're playing a warlock, depending on your patron, the Eldritch Blast damage changes.
I like
it
that.
It should all just be forged.
Here's an interesting thing about Warlock, too, that a lot of tables mess up. Fun difference between Warlock and Paladin. If you're a Paladin and you break your oath, you lose your powers. That's why the Oathbreaker exists. As a Warlock, if you upset your patron or you break your pact, you don't lose your powers. You actually maintain your Warlock powers. They are given to you permanently.
Right, but you don't get anything else from the warlock.
Yeah, you don't further advance.
Yeah.
But you don't lose any of it.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna play a paladin, unless specifically you're playing a redemption paladin, play a warlock for the most time and just pick heavy armorer, because you can get all your spells back on a short rest. With paladin, you can't.
Yeah.
And I love paladin.
And
I love
warlocks can smite.
Yeah. Unless you're trying to play a tankier knight character, then just play a knight class, play a fighter class.
C tier, we've got Valor, Crown, Dreams, Fey Wanderer, Fathomless, Glory, Order, Draconic Bloodline, Open Hand, Kensei, Fiend, Sun Soul, Undead, Champion, Devotion, Creation, Mutant, Swarmkeeper, Thief, Shadow, Artillerist, War Magic, Psy Warrior, Monster Slayer, Enchantment, Illusion, Berserker, and War.
Psy Warrior should be in D tier, I think.
I agree with that. Put it in here.
Also both Illusionist and I think Enchanter.
Moving them down.
Damn.
No, put Illusionist back. That's very wizardy of wizarding if you would do.
Fair, yeah. Put it. That does mean that it goes over to the I'm playing the blankety of blank, but I'm going to put it at the end of that list after Devotion.
Yeah.
D tier, Astral Self, Abjuration, Peace, Open Sea, Hexblade, Psy Warrior, Cavalier, Lore, Cobalt Soul, Battlemaster, Conquest, Oathbreaker, Death, Beastmaster, Land, and Enchantment. So
like
a lot of what we did here were these things would be fine if your campaign was built around their core feature.
Yeah. I feel like Knowledge Domain should go down there as well then, but...
Which one needs to?
I feel like Knowledge Domain Cleric should go down there as well, but that's... meh.
I still think Knowledge and Arcane are locked together. F tier, Graviturgy, Chronergy, Great Old One, Profane Soul, Wild Magic, Barbarian, Alchemist, Four Elements Monk, Battle Rager, Blade Song, and in absolute last place, in fact, I'm gonna make a thing here real quick. Let me...
Are you gonna make literally shit tier?
The Ranger of Tears.
Add one row below. Black. Super F. Okay. Thank you. I feel like I... Super. Why?
Nope.
What's the point in this? What the fuck? Whatever. It goes down here in Super F.
It's just not fun.
There.
Oh, I see what happened. You put the regular F tier as super F.
It shouldn't be. This is dumb. Why does it keep doing that? There.
Okay. Yeah, and then we have two ones that don't exist at the bottom.
They can go in Super F.
Yeah, I agree on, like, I would change some of these, but that's pretty, yeah, I'd say so. I don't think we're going to do that other tier list, by the way, that you had planned. We've been at this for 2 hours.
Yeah,
I was
2.5.
about to say, yeah, no, this is past when spawn camp goes. Usually that's why I popped in.
The other tier list was much smaller. So that's why I got that one first. And it's like, oh, let's grab a second one. And then I grabbed this one. And then we did this one first.
I now would be very curious, scroll up to the top again, Rev, to have a campaign where, like, you only have these top classes in our opinion, or which are the best one, and, like, see how quickly it just evolves into the DM quitting.
I wouldn't even be able to choose, like, I'd have a hard time building my character with these limits, because these are all awesome.
We should next time do a list of species, which are the best storytelling-wise and artistically, not saying which ones are, like, superior.
Well, yeah, because obviously the only answer there is Goliath.
I thought you were going to say Tiefling. I'm proud of you.
Well, here's the thing. The new Goliath is the
so
best
broken.
species.
Yes. One of my characters in Moonlit Mist is one of those. And
you know what's even better about the new Goliath? There's also the new the Path of the World Tree Barbarian, which is a giant barbarian, and then you get to be a half giant, and you do all the giant cool tricks and just be fucking unstoppable. And I want to play a party of Goliaths where we only choose from these top tier. We're going to do that.
Terrifying.
And in fact,
we do that for Darkness's campaign. We all play Goliaths.
Downloading the image for this, so that way we have it.
Thank you.
All right.
And
well,
for the rec, and yeah, I mean, Blood, aren't you happy though? I mean, we do have a Blood Hunter and 8 here.
It's Ghost Slayer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best one objectively. It's the...
Oh no, 100% it is. I have a soft spot for Lycan because of Renal.
I thought you were gonna say Belias, but fair.
What's your favorite subclass?
No. I'm running a Lycan Blood Hunter.
Blood, what's your favorite subclass in all of 5th edition?
My favorite subclass in all of 5th edition. Oh fuck. I don't know. That's hard. Are you kidding me?
Top 3.
Whisper Bard, Wildfire Druid,
S tier,
and Grave
Cleric.
Also S tier.
Yeah, like my favorite ones are any of the ones in S or A tier. Anytime I see any of those, I know I'm in for a good time in a campaign.
All right, well, that's our time. We've actually gone a little bit over. Make sure you tune in throughout the rest of the week. We've got some really cool stuff happening this Wednesday.
Yes.
And then we'll be back with some more Thirsty Gay Thursday after that. We have an interesting show coming up on the One Shot Wonderarium this week. Make sure you tune in. And then we'll see you again for this time next week for Spawn Camp, where we're going to be talking about something especially interesting. Thank you, and I cannot wait to see you then.